Welcome to the Late Night with Chalky podcast. I'm Jay Late Night Larson.
And I'm Lyndon Chalky Cabellion. In each episode, we will be talking to different surfers and surf shops to learn more about them and their passion for surfing. We will be diving deep into their experiences as well as their involvement and contributions to their local communities.
Be sure to check out our website and Instagram feed for updates on future shows. Thank you for your support, and we look forward to sharing these great stories with you.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Yes, we got sponsors.
First up,
Wax,
the best wax in the game.
This stuff is so sticky and grippy, you'll never slip off your stick again.
Ever. Again. So go to your local surf shop.
And make sure they carry it. And if they don't,
demand it.
Demand it. You'll be stoked. Try it out. Our next sponsor, Bonsai Bowls.
Oh.
I know a lot of our listeners have had one of these, and if they haven't, they're going to now.
They're missing out.
They're missing out.
It's a healthy, delicious,
amazing, fresh acai bowl with tons of fruit and organic ingredients.
They've got 5 locations in Southern California.
From Huntington to San Clemente and all in between.
2 in Hawaii.
2 in Hawaii for those on the North Shore. And, come support these guys. They have amazing acai bowls, and they support the West Coast board riders and a lot of the surf events up and down the coast.
And they've made it a lot easier to get them. They've got their own app now.
That's right. Go to your app store and download Bonsai Bowl app, and you can pre-order, prepay, and just go pick up. Cut through the line.
And for our listeners of the Late Night with Chalky podcast,
you're going to get 15% off your next bowl.
A 15% discount off Bonsai Bowls.
That's insane.
So make sure to mention the Late Night with Chalky podcast and you get 15% off at Bonsai Bowls.
And one of our other favorite restaurants?
Caliente OC.
Caliente Southwest.com. They offer healthy Mexican style food with local organic ingredients.
Family owned. Their phone number is 949-515-0909. And our listeners get
15% off there as well.
Yeah. So mention Late Night with Chalky podcast and get 15% off at Caliente OC.
And both these guys are great at catering events. So you could use them for a shop event, corporate event, birthday event, wedding, all of the above.
They love to party. And last but not least, we are super stoked to welcome Olo Clip as a new sponsor of the Late Night with Chalky podcast.
What is Olo Clip?
They make the original mobile lens system for your phone. So these can make clips that hold the lenses, the cases that are designed to make it really easy to get the clip on the phone. So check them out at oloclip.com. And for all the Late Night with Chalky podcast listeners, they get 10% off.
That's huge.
Huge. So at checkout, the code is SURF10. That's SURF, the number 10. And you get 10% off Olo Clip.
And you guys got to check out our Instagram. We're going to be posting pictures with these wide lens angles, fish eye, all kinds of cool photo options with your phone.
And for you rich dudes out there, like Late Night, they do make lenses for iPhone 11s.
What? Epic.
Thank you, sponsors.
Thank you.
Friends and family, brothers and sisters, welcome to the Late Night with Chalky podcast.
Welcome. This episode's guest is an iconic big wave surfer.
Southern California.
He's a Southern
Santa
California.
Monica, Dogtown.
What?
Keep going, guys. Beautiful, handsome.
He's handsome, successful.
Male
model. He's got
father.
He's got the biggest balls in Santa Monica. Maybe in Southern California.
Not actually physically, but mentally.
He's a commentator on WSL. You might know him as the Raspberry.
The Waz.
I
got a lot of different names. All weather Waz on the water.
Yeah.
Wow.
Welcome, Strider Wasilewski.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Strider Raspberry Wasilewski.
Raspberry.
Yeah.
See, I said raspberry in there.
Yeah.
I can't believe that we finally wrangled you, and you came to us.
That's right. I came down.
We were willing to come up to the boo.
When you make commitments, you have to follow through.
Yeah.
Dude. Well, we're super
We're grateful.
thankful to
Yeah.
have you finally sit down with us and tell our audience.
Because
The fact that it's not
story!
in a surf spot parking lot, though, is kind of bumming me out.
Yeah.
We should be talking shit in a parking lot somewhere. But
Yeah.
We can do that next time. Right? That's the second episode.
Peanut gallery on the wall, just calling out kooks in the water. Just kidding.
that's how I get my job.
You guys know, as Larson said, Strider is one of the. How long have you been doing WSL now?
Actually, I think 6 years now.
Cool.
I think it was I was the last man in.
Color commentary is what they call your position.
I'd call it. Yeah, you know what? It's an interesting thing, but yeah, color commentary.
Well,
I kind of don't really see myself as a journalist, though. I'm kind of more of an entertainer.
Yeah, you're definitely an entertainer.
yeah.
Because I'm not that good at the journalist stuff. I know that. I know my place.
Yeah.
I know that Joe Chappelle and Ronnie Blakey are kind of the students of it all, and they have all the knowledge, and they go really deep on stats, and they do a lot of homework, and they get a lot.
But that's the perfect balance of why your guys' deals.
But we all have
so good.
the perfect position in the broadcast.
And honestly, over the past 3 or 4 years, you've gotten really fucking good at commentating.
Oh, geez, thanks, buddy.
No, hey,
A little bit of butter on the toast.
Bro, come on, man! I can't fucking pay a compliment to people.
No, I love
Just
it.
kidding.
But honestly,
Criminy.
dude, I've with that, I've had to learn how to do it because I was the last guy in, meaning I didn't do it before. Like Pete, Potts, all of them.
Yeah.
Even
went through a little bit
Kaipo.
of training.
They've all been doing
a long time.
commentating for 15 years.
Yeah.
And I was the last guy in. I literally was just heard about it. Basically, was told that they were done hiring, and no was what I.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I've been told no, like when I went to Quicksilver in '93, and Danny
All right.
Clough.
Before we get into that, let's go back at the beginning because this is an illustrious, amazing
Journey.
career.
Yeah.
I mean, your story is fucking insane, and we want to hear from start to finish.
Okay.
Obviously,
Where'd you grow up?
Dogtown,
Yeah.
Santa Monica.
Yep.
How old were you?
Well, I'll just get to it really quick. I was born in California. When I was 1 year old, we moved to England
England.
because my mom ran away from home a long time ago. My mom was part of the Irvine family. Colonel Irvine was my grandfather.
You're kidding me.
And he was
like
a full-
Irvine?
Yeah, he was
The richest-
Yes.
Okay.
He was but in Palm Springs. Okay, they pulled up in Palm Springs. The rest of the family pulled up in Irvine, but he was part of the family, and so, but he wasn't a good man. And my mom ran away to England. Ended up in a room with Mick Jagger and my dad. My dad was the man in London. He was the biggest drug dealer there.
What?
Yeah, so my mom looks over, gets past the joint from Mick, and my dad was there, and they met, and then we ended up back in California.
Wait, so you were already born, and she
No.
ran away.
This was before I was born.
Okay.
She ran away. Met my dad in England.
Okay.
They moved back to California, to Sonoma County, Monterey, a little town up above San Francisco.
Yeah. Wine country.
Over the Russian River.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I was born there.
Okay.
My dad delivered me in a house. I wasn't waiting.
Full hippies?
Yeah, second baby, not waiting, coming out. Dad delivered me. Doctor showed up to do the business and
Wait, so
clean me up.
your dad's an Englishman.
My dad's an Englishman.
They met in England.
Yeah.
Moved here.
Yeah.
Had your brother first?
My brother was born first.
Okay.
Before.
In England or
Different
here?
dad.
Oh, different dad. Okay.
Then, yeah, he was born over there.
Okay.
Then
Met your dad.
met my dad. My dad and my mom moved to Northern California. I was born, and my dad actually almost died. Almost fell out the window when he delivered me.
Hold on 1 second, guys.
So
Sonoma County.
Sonoma County, dad delivers me. I'm born. I got rad photos of me just being born, actually.
Dude.
Act of. But then a lot happened.
Okay.
Back to England, dad got busted. Went out to get food. They made me stand in the doorway so he would come back in the house. Busted him. They found all the gear. But so that night we left.
How old were you then?
I was 6.
Wow.
Moved back to California, ended up in Santa Monica.
So
That's
your
how I
dad
ended
was
up.
always a drug dealer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ended
What
up
kind of
back-
drugs?
Everything.
Hustle.
Smack,
Yeah.
cocaine.
Crazy. That must have
Like
been
my mom and him, got thrown in jail down in Morocco, like fucking with all the hash.
The hashish.
Yeah.
Wow.
My mom told me a story about crawl. They let her out, and she had to crawl on her hands and knees on this asphalt road for miles because it was so dark.
Crazy.
And, like
Holy
hitchhike and get picked up and get on a fucking boat to get back. It was like
Crazy stories.
anyway. So then
Those stories are
those
out
are,
of control.
those will be unraveled soon. But for me, I ended up in Santa Monica.
So wait,
in a
did
rent
your dad go to
control-
jail?
My dad went to jail for 7 years.
And then you and your mom and brother moved to California?
Yeah, we left.
Okay. At 6 years old, 7 years old?
Yeah, 6.
Okay.
And I ended up on the beach in Santa Monica at a place called the Sea Castle, which was a rent control building that didn't allow kids. And my mom was like, "Oh yeah, why not?" Because this was the best place to live. It was on
Yeah.
the beach.
Yeah.
And she knew from her youth that the beach was a great place for kids, and especially without
Yeah.
money, because
Yeah.
we were basically on government cheese at that point. Welfare, food stamps, and,
Yeah.
you know.
The beach is your playground.
But so the beach was free, and so my brother. That's how I started surfing. Me and my brother would
What's your brother's name?
mezcal,
Mescal.
Mescalito Wasilewski, the Mexican peyote god.
The story just keeps.
Anyway, so we ended up on the beach waiting for people to lose their boards. Like, this is late 70s. Leashes weren't really
Yeah.
Thing,
a
yeah.
thing, and people would lose their boards or their boogie boards, and we'd grab them. And usually we'd take turns on who lost them, and we'd grab them, and sometimes we'd fight over it, and by the time the guy got into the beach, he'd just grab his board. But 90% of the time,
Get a couple
the
waves.
board, get out there, catch a couple waves into the shore break, and that's how we started surfing, was by waiting for people to lose their boards.
So
And then
awesome.
they'd be like wandering around on the beach, and me and my brother would just laugh, and we'd be laughing to ourselves and looking at each other because we'd be on their boards in the shore break,
they're
like, surfing, and they'd
oblivious
be
to
like
it.
looking for their board on the beach. And then finally, like, get the fuck off, what's my fucking board? And then, like, of course, late 70s, Santa Monica, the
Yeah.
locals were pretty gnarly on the south side of town where we lived.
Oh,
We were just
funny.
south of the Santa Monica Pier. But that's how I started surfing.
Wow.
That's epic.
So when you first moved back, you like got to the beach and like, what are these dudes doing?
You knew
Like, they're
surfing?
in the
Like,
water.
just-
I didn't
What
know
is this?
surfing, I just saw surfing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw the beach and body surfing. Got barreled at Toes Beach down Playa del Rey for the first time, where my uncle was living, and
Skateboarding pretty big too. Like
skateboarding was a huge
On the
part.
boardwalk there.
That was my transportation.
Yeah.
Was skateboarding, and my mom quickly, she used to, when she was in her youth, was in Venice and hanging out down there, and was friends with Jay Adams' mom, and they partied together. And so Jay Adams and Tony Alva and the whole Dogtown crew,
You grew up to
Jim
that.
Muir, all those were like my surrogate fathers.
Yeah.
If you can
So-
imagine having a.
That's pretty fucking amazing.
But there was
Yeah.
like growing up, there was a place called Fraser Camp where Nodis lived on that street, Nodis Kappas, and then at Fraser Camp was like this crazy just house at the end of the street where you could go hang out kind of in the daytime, but not really,
yeah.
because it was like where everything was going down.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
And at night,
The deals were done.
and I would just get kicked out of the house by
Yeah. Yeah. Adults
But it was-
only.
it was pretty cool because all the people I grew up with and my friends' parents, were kind of my parents. So my friends and my friends' parents and then the whole Dogtown crew.
You had a lot of
You
people
remember the
looking after.
McClure brothers,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Solo Scott, Mike Packham, Craig Cottle, like this whole, Jay Adams. They were all the badass surfers and skaters
For sure.
from our neighborhood. And those guys were like,
looked out to each
everybody
other.
looked out, for me.
Yeah.
I had more attention probably than a regular kid at home with their parents.
That's so amazing.
And they would hook you up with like boards and gear and like look
Well,
after
yeah,
you.
because when I started surfing, I started boogie boarding. I was doing the Keith Sasaki saw me and he's all, dude, you got to do the boogie board contest. His
Keith
son-
Sasaki?
Yeah, remember him?
Yeah.
So it was the
Johnny.
boogie board contest because I used to stand up. And he's like, you're one step ahead of me. And I'd go down and do the boogie board contest and I'd win the Sunkissed boogie boards.
Yeah.
those orange ones back in the day. And then I'd run down the beach to the Pac West surf contest.
Yeah.
And I had this old single fin I used to ride that I had my first surfboard, which I got at a garage sale across the street from my elementary school. And the guy's all, $20. I'm all, I get $5 a week. He's all, come back in a month. I'll save it for you.
That's
Wow.
cool.
And I came back in a month and I got my first board.
Sick.
But then I had to surf basically in my fucking trunks through the winter because we didn't have any money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my mom's
What'd
like,
your mom do for a living?
well,
waitress,
basically
or-
my dad was supposed to be sending money, but he was in jail. But he still was sending
Had money.
the money that was there from before.
Yeah.
And that kind of started not coming in. So they ended up having a bad relationship. But my mom would get welfare. And because her dad was
Irvine.
so gnarly, he was a colonel. He put her, because she ran away from home, so he instantly said, "You're crazy." Put her in the Betty Ford clinic. She broke out of there and went to England. That's how she met my dad.
Okay.
But because of that, then he had the CIA go get her, bring her back, and fucking put her on a state SSI check, which is a disability check for being crazy.
Yeah.
Which in the long form, she went back to school, got her degree and her doctorate in psychology, and
kidding
ended
me.
up working for the state of California as a psychologist for the troubled youth and getting paid by the state to be crazy.
So incredible. Full circle right there.
And so then she's like, "Oh, I don't want the check anymore." They're like, "Oh, why?" And they're like, "Shut. I work for the state as a psychologist."
And I'm not crazy.
And you guys, well, everybody's a little crazy.
Yeah.
She was definitely nuts. But then they're like, "Well, then you owe us back taxes."
What?
Yeah.
You're like, never mind. I'll
And
keep
she's
taking
like,
the
what?
check.
She was so gnarly. I'll fucking sue you. And she did. She went to court. They threw it out.
Yeah.
That's how she got into the building where I started surfing.
Yeah.
Where we were living, because she's like,
Your
"Why
mom's
can't-
a
why can't
scrappy,
kids-"
tough lady.
My mom was a badass.
Yeah.
She became the deputy probation officer at Venice High. Had a badge and a gun. 357. She rolled a big red Chevy old school truck and freaking,
Are you close with your brother, or
yeah. Well, my brother,
he surfed and skated too?
he
right?
was not. He was better than I was.
Wow.
Okay.
But then he went down the late 80s, 90s gangster rap fucking era.
Yeah.
40 ounces in beanies and crack, basically.
Yeah.
So he became a drug addict. And by the time I was 13, 14, I already had seen people smoking crack, and, my brother, and
You're so
he was getting
you're
shot at. and
right
he was-
there in front. You're like, you
there's-
knew the do's and don'ts.
Yeah, my whole world. I saw somebody get killed when I was 12, right in front of my building, basically. Like,
Wow.
2 buildings over, by hot dog on a stick. Like, I saw a bunch of shit really young, just
Yeah.
because of my environment.
It's crazy how gentrified that area
Yeah.
is.
It is,
or
but now it's coming
re-gentrified.
back full circle, because
Is it getting gnarly again?
we're an open state,
Yeah.
and people are busing their homeless in
Yeah.
and dropping them off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're dropping them off in Venice.
Yeah.
With cash.
Everywhere.
With cash.
Everywhere.
And it's fucked.
It's bad here.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
So how I know that the Dogtown community kind of took care of you, right? I mean,
Well, Horizons West Surfboards, if you remember.
Randy
was-
Wright, right?
Yeah,
Randy.
was actually Nathan Pratt.
Oh, Nathan.
And it was on Main Street,
Yep.
where Pac West used to be, which was the original surf shop down there, and it was the original Dogtown shop.
Yep.
So Skip Emblem, and then Nathan Pratt took over, started doing all this stuff down there with Horizons West, and he had all the new Japanese rubber at the wetsuits, and he knew the deal about going down to the magazines and dropping off gifts to get cover shots, and
Yeah.
I mean,
Knew that-
all the way the surf industry
Used to be.
Yeah.
And so basically, when I was 12, I got shot in the mag, backside barrel, Steve Sakamoto photo. I'll never forget that. It was my first shot in
Oak
Surfer
foils?
magazine. What's that?
He didn't shape, did he? Steve
No,
Sakamoto?
no, he was a
Okay.
photographer.
Okay. Did
But I was riding for Horizons West.
that was your first sponsor?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. They started
When did you-
surfboards and wetsuits and clothes.
When did you first get sponsored? At 12?
It was probably 11.
Yeah.
Right
You
around
were,
there.
you were boogie boarding, winning contests,
Yeah.
and then started surfing.
Yeah.
Started surfing contests too.
Yeah.
that
What
time?
about
Yeah,
WSAs and what was up
WSA,
there?
NSSA.
Yeah.
Then there was the local contest, and Huntington Pier Nationals.
Sick.
Took down Shane Besham in the boys division.
Yeah.
Won the Nationals at 12, and I had that. If you go down there at the Nationals, I'm the last name on the list in the boys division.
Awesome.
It's 84. Strider Wasilewski,
That's freaking epic.
national champ.
Hear that, Beshan? He's coming after you. Just kidding. That's epic. Yeah, those are, I mean, the good old days of we always talk about you grew up in a little town when you're grown, but then when you start doing those contests and you start meeting other surfers, because the world was not as social back then, it was little cliques,
Much different.
much different. But when you're able to compete and see guys from other parts of the
bridge the
coast,
gaps, yeah.
you're like, oh, they're not that far away. And
Well, you remember David Lansdowne? Do you remember David
I don't.
Lansdowne? He was our WSA District 4 director,
Okay,
and he was a black dude from Watts,
sick.
and he took us everywhere
Yeah,
on the coast.
That's amazing.
We went down to freaking Surf New Break,
yeah,
take the racks off. You know how localized that place was.
for sure.
And he kicked everybody's ass and let us surf.
Yeah.
He was like this gnarly guy. And then somebody came in and called him the N-word.
What?
Yeah, and that was it. I'm like, oh yeah? Well, pow, pow, pow! Go surfing, kids!
That's amazing.
And he waited on the beach for us to surf, and then he was with the guys that he was smacking around, and then we all bailed. It was crazy back in the day, though. Like you said, cliques,
Yeah.
localism,
Yeah.
the whole thing. But because of competitive surfing as a youth, I saw the whole coast all the way down into Baja, Mexico, with David Lansdowne, this black dude from
But it-
Watts.
But it also kept you out of trouble because you're fired up on being up at 6 a.m. on a
Yeah.
Saturday morning. And
For
when-
me, I saw so much bad shit that surfing was my savior.
for
Yeah.
sure.
100%.
Yeah.
Sanctitude or whatever you call it.
I mean, honey, I say the same thing. Like, you had good kids and you had
Yeah.
kids around the bad, and then you had really bad, influencers.
Huntington was pretty rough around
and
the edges back
you
in
knew
the
the
day,
do's
too.
and don'ts,
Yeah.
and luckily, you mix with the right crew and stay away.
So what was your first board? You said you got it from a
Garage sale.
Garage sale,
sale.
but it was a Jeff Ho Zephyr
nice
single fin dome deck 5.2.
5'2".
Fucking thing was sick. I wish I had it.
Yeah,
I wish we all kept our boards.
I know, huh?
I got my first fin. It was a single fin. I went to Jay's house and got a Z-Flex foam fin. It was like foam and fiberglass. This Z-Flex fin, I'll never forget, it was yellow with the white foam in it, shaped into it. It was all laminated together.
Yeah, it wasn't just a straight fiberglass resin. It had a little.
It had this style and
And all those
feel.
dudes surf too, right? Like Tony
Well, surfing
Alva
was skateboarding was a byproduct of surfing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they were all from that era where there was people.
How do I surf the concrete?
They started, but they actually took the style of surfing to skateboards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before it was like this weird step around thing.
Right.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
And then they were carving.
Carving,
Big
layback
layback
snaps.
Larrys on the
Yeah.
walls and, they were so rad.
So you got a chance to
the
watch.
McClure brothers and those guys were beating Tom Kerr in a contest, surf contest.
Yeah.
They were that badass.
Back
in
progressive.
the 80s,
Yeah.
surfing in LA, there wasn't anything better. It was so hot, it was on fire.
Yeah.
And it was because Nathan Pratt was paying so much attention
To what was
it all
happening.
and pushing it and creating it. It was, two-way street. He wanted to grow his business.
Yeah.
And he got all these guys out there.
But he wanted to mirror what other towns and other people were doing.
Yeah,
in other,
he-
like Santa Cruz, Huntington.
He saw the
San
potential
Clemente.
of-
But
Yeah.
he saw the other side of it too, with skateboarding and the influx, the meeting of the two. And so he had me in Thrasher magazine. I got a 2-page spread in Thrasher mag.
What?
Doing a big Larry on the bank right next to it's Santa Monica Farms, where right next door to where Horizons West was, which is
Did
pretty
you
much.
get your shot in a surf mag first or skateboard mag
it was a
first?
surf mag, then skate mag.
Nice.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Fucking.
I think I remember
Not too
seeing-
many people, even to this day, get
Yeah.
coverage in skate and surf.
I think I remember seeing you at the end of the
Pioneer
magazine. They'd
over
have
here.
the contest results page, and then they'd have little
Remember how cool those were?
little
Oh, yeah.
little
They had little
pictures,
photos
little
and-
photos and stuff. And
Yeah.
I think I remember seeing your photo on one of the contest page on the back.
Yeah.
So
So,
sick.
Horizons West was your first shop sponsor.
Yeah.
Who was your first board and clothing?
Well, they made everything, so
Okay.
I was running all that stuff, and then my mom was psyched because she didn't have to buy me anything.
Right.
and they would outfit me and my brother. So then it was like, and then, you know, my mom was basically knew everybody there and would party with everybody too. So it was just kind of a family ordeal, really.
Sick.
And then from there, I used to hang out at the shop every day. It was my first job. I'd clean the toilet and the shaping room in the back. And I'd go across the street was the Boulangerie Bakery. I'd get bread rolls and butter pats from the cute girls in the back, and they'd be like, "Oh, here, go, just run," you know. And I'd just sit across the street and eat my fucking bread and get fatter and like just whatever. I was just getting some sustenance, you know. I didn't, you know, have anything, but I also didn't want to. That was where I hung out. Was that? Remember when the days we just hung out at the surf shop?
That's it. Yeah, all day.
So there was a stoop out
the
front.
best.
Yeah.
We'd cruise. We'd skate the little bank, and I'd clean the shaping room and the shitter, and that was my deal. And one day this girl comes up named Michi, and she goes, "I want to take pictures of you. I mean, I don't, but I know this sounds weird. Give this number to your mom or your dad." So she gives me the phone number. I give the number to my mom.
A Japanese girl?
Yeah.
Okay.
I call my mom calls Michi. Michi explains to my mom the photo shoot, and she's like, "You're gonna pay him what? $500? You know, I'm 12, right?" And
Good looking kid.
I was just a little kid, but I was a surf rat, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, "Yeah." And so we go to Malibu, to Third Point, basically, back in the bushes. And there's these fucking Jamie Brissick, this guy Glenn, all these guys that were like basically
Surf
good looking
rats.
surf guys, and Herb Ritz,
Herb Ritz.
who is at this time
Photographer.
the most famous
Yeah.
fashion photographer in the world.
Yes.
And
Who's taking pictures of
I have no idea, right? Cindy Crawford,
Cindy Crawford? Yeah.
everybody,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Olivia Newton-John,
All the campaigns back then were done by
Daryl
him.
Hannah, like
Yeah.
you name it, like, and all of a sudden I'm like, what? Okay, yeah, do this, that. So next thing you know, I'm getting paid.
Which is a shitload of money as a
Wow.
12-year-old. Your mom's probably tripping.
My mom's going, yeah, you know, like we're going to Hawaii. You know?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I ended up doing like he just would call, and I'd be like, I have a cover of me standing there with Daryl Hannah. Remember when she did that movie Splash?
Yeah.
Back in the day?
Yeah.
And she had the boobs out, like
Yeah.
the perfect boobs. Well, there's a photo of me on the cover of Tatler, which is an English magazine, and my face are just in her boobs.
What? Booyah.
Anyway, like I did all these crazy, did Olivia Newton-John, like this photo shoots with her, with Cindy Crawford. I did a
Wow.
photo shoot, a Reebok one, and Buzzy Kerbox. Like, so I did this whole run from the surf shop, from fucking hanging out at Horizons West.
So epic.
So it wasn't just one time.
It just kept
turned
going.
into a
It kept
part-time
going
gig.
until I cut my nose in half.
How'd you cut your nose in half?
I was surfing Caligas. Do you know that
I've heard of
right-hand river
Caligas,
mouth
yeah.
at Point Magoo?
Yeah.
We run across the freaking marsh, and the wave was like a Kira. It was the sickest wave. People didn't really know about it, but it was the fucking. It's
How old were you?
I was 14,
Okay.
maybe late 13 or
So
14.
for 2 years you were taking
I was taking
photos.
on, getting all these killer jobs, and then I was in
You're
a
making
barrel.
bank.
I was in the barrel backside, and I freaking face planted on the sand, and I just blew my nose in half. You can see it. See how this nostril's bigger and this
Yeah.
one's small?
A
I
little
cut over the top all the way across. This whole piece of my nose was on my lip, and I could put my finger in my nostril and come out the top.
Oh my god.
And it was so nasty that I came in, like it was bleeding, and I couldn't stop it from bleeding. And my friend came in, and he's like, "Bleh," and he threw up when he saw it because it was so, you could see my
See the
septum,
bone?
the it was
Right.
nasty.
And you're far from the hospital.
I'm really far from the hospital, and I had to run back across the marsh.
You're
get
14.
To the car. I'm probably late 13. Yeah, not even 14 yet. I get fucking. They sew me up, but you know,
Doesn't do a great job. Just
I
fix
didn't
it.
have the greatest job done because plastic surgery was out of the question. Didn't
Yeah.
have the money for that.
Yeah.
And the emergency room just kind of sewed across the top. They didn't sew the inside really. And I have these ledges in here for like
Scar tissue,
and
ledges, yeah.
just nasty shit. And I never got it fixed. I've always had a little bit of a problem breathing through my nose because of that.
Yeah.
But when you don't have any money and you're in an emergency room and they just put you back together,
Yeah.
you know. So that stopped my modeling career.
Did it really?
Well, I had all my fucking
It was probably
blew my nose up, and then
The scar
basically
takes forever to
scar takes
heal.
forever, and then I couldn't go to a couple photo shoots, and then after that, it was just kind of like,
Got another surfer blonde hair kid.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What a bummer.
So
But great story.
but then
That's insane.
I ended up at Quicksilver.
so tell us about that.
yeah, when did you get sponsored by Quicksilver?
That was not till so that I mean 14 to 21. The years in between there were fucking crazy. 14 to 21 was fucking nuts because I was still surfing a lot. I was still sponsored by Horizons West and then Town and Country and even Bear.
How did you
subsequently
How did
after
you get
Town and
sponsored by
Country.
Town and Country? Okay, so sorry.
That's actually a
Let's talk about this. So you're 13, 14 years old. You're
Yeah.
starting to surf everywhere.
yeah.
Doing some contests.
The
Then you got
Horizons West thing imploded a
okay.
bit, and then I think that was around like there was a big recession and stuff, and then Con Surfboards, which was up the street on Pico, and Randall Kim. I don't know if
Yeah.
you remember Randall Kim.
Yeah.
Came from Hawaii and ran the shop,
Okay.
and he had connections to Town and Country, and he sponsored me for Town and Country. And when I was
So that's before Quicksilver.
this was before Quicksilver, so
Boards, clothing, everything.
yeah, so
Like,
I went to Hawaii and
Yeah.
did the U.S. Championships when I was like 14, I think it was.
First trip
First trip to Hawaii
at 14,
at 14 by myself.
and you were comfortable in big waves already. You were charging California.
Not really. I
anything?
was just whatever going to Hawaii for the U.S. Championships because I made the U.S. Championships and that's where it was.
Yeah.
I'd done the one in Texas.
yeah.
Then I went to the U.S. Championships at Makaha,
Texas was.
and I
like
surfed for
90.
Town and Country. So I was sent to Sonny Garcia's house on the west side.
Yeah. Awesome.
13 or 14, and I was just this howly kid, and then we all met at the surfboard factory. I got picked up by Craig Sugihara,
Yeah.
got taken over to the surfboard factory. I think her name was Iris. Anyway, I had 3 boards, Sonny had 2. Instant problem.
Town and country. Yeah.
Went back to the house. His parents took me in like I was their own, showed me love and aloha, and Sonny was,
Sonny.
my freaking tour guide. No shoes, running on rocks and reef on a Miley Point, fucking
So what happened?
heavy. Just
what
like
happened?
holy
With
shit, couldn't understand a word. The pigeon was so thick. I ended up just like
what happened with the three boards to 2?
somebody took one of his buddies is like, okay, I'll ride this one.
Pretty much.
Then we both had 2 and the other guy had 1.
So problem
One of
solved.
Sonny's buddies was riding it. Anyway, it was pretty,
Handler.
it was rad.
So that was your first trip.
And the west side is, I mean, there's not a lot of surf spots. Like there are, but not like compared to the North Shore. You
Yeah.
know, you think like,
Well, the North Shore is just compacted
So
next to each other.
compact.
So we were instantly jumping in the back of a truck going to Makaha.
Makaha, Miley Point, you got Third Dip, you got a couple
he lived
other
at
little stops.
Miley Point.
Yeah.
And so we'd walk out through the backyard, through over the highway, surfed out there a couple times, and then we went to Makaha to practice for the contest.
You guys get along then? You and Sonny?
Did we get along?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was rad.
Yeah.
It was really rad. Until I fucked up and I forgot the gift that his parents gave me, which was a How to Speak Pigeon book, and my mom's camera. I forgot my mom's camera,
Oh shit.
and I was like,
You forgot it there?
yeah, at the house. And so I saw Sonny here at the Nationals at Huntington Pier, and he's like, "Brad, what the fuck?"
Yeah.
My parents are pissed, bro. You fucking forgot the gift they gave you. Disrespect my family.
Oh,
kind of
no.
a thing, I was like, I felt horrible.
Yeah.
And, but
But you're 13,
Yeah.
14 years
well,
old.
Yeah,
You're
this is like a year later where everybody, anyway, it was crazy. It was the wildest freaking ride ever.
How long were you over there? Like
Was
just for
there
the
like,
event?
Yeah,
couple weeks?
a week or
Week
something. 10 days probably.
Yeah.
What a trip.
and that was the first of many Hawaii trips then, right? And
Well,
you-
then I had the money from modeling the next winter.
you started modeling again?
No, I had the money.
Okay.
Because I made a bunch of money.
Yeah.
I had the money, and I'm like, told my mom, the Town and Country had us all set up on the North Shore.
You told her that?
Yeah.
But it wasn't true?
No. So
Yeah, Mom, don't worry about it.
It's all covered.
Yeah.
Sponsors hook me up.
Yeah, Town and Country, blah blah blah. Made it sound good. I had the
I'm
gift,
sure they would have taken care of you too.
I had
though.
the gift of gab at a young age.
Yeah.
You know, it was you had to have it in Santa Monica, or else
Yeah.
you got
I-
anywhere
I
at any
think-
beach.
I
You
think-
learned street knowledge.
You
and street,
you got torn up. So anyway,
street smart
I
quick.
ended up in Hawaii with a couple of my friends in a taxi cab going to the North Shore. I'd heard about Cammy's Market and that
Yeah.
there was those numbers on the board. So I flew over there. And I had the
At
money.
what?
I had the money.
At 15, 14?
This is 14. I had the money, right? And so we get to there. We lifeguard tower at sunset.
Yeah.
Give the guy $80. The guy just fishtails, just cloud of fucking dust, smoke, just great. Now my friends are like standing there looking at me. What are we gonna do? And I'm like,
How many friends that do you talk into?
it was Steve and I think it was Kevin.
Segrist?
Yeah.
I know Steve Segrist.
And
Not well, but
we drag our board bags. My boards or somebody's boards didn't show up. Anyway, drag our board bags to fucking Cammy's. I'm standing there at the board.
All the rooms for rent. all
Runs
the
for
like,
rent, writing down numbers, and
Going to pay
I had
phone.
a pocket full of cash. It was on.
Yeah.
And my friends are like, "Oh, okay." It started being more comfortable because there was the board that I told them about. No fucking, Anyway,
no
Davey Miller.
no parental.
Davey Miller.
Davey
He would
Miller.
pick you up in his truck no matter what. He'd pick up every hitchhiker. all
Davey
up and
Miller
down.
walks out of the store, and I'm all, "Davey Miller." He was like a surf star, biggest
Yeah.
California
Yeah.
guy in Hawaii, surfing pipeline, backdoor. He was the fucking man.
Killer
And I was
style, rip.
Like, rode for Victory.
Yeah.
And I rode for Victory. I'm all, "Davey Miller." He's all, "Hey, what's up? Do I know you?" I'm like, "No, but I know you." He's all, "What's up?" I'm just trying to find a place to stay. He's like, "You got some money?" I'm all, "Yeah." He's all, "Let me see."
So sick.
Then he's like, "Put your shit in the car." Boom, boom,
Come
boom.
with me.
Jump in the car, driving down the street, pull over underneath the fucking overhang of a garage. I have no idea where I'm at.
Yeah.
Go into the house, puts our stuff in the back bedroom. This is where you guys are gonna stay.
So epic.
Walk out onto the deck.
How lucky did you guys get?
Walk out onto the deck, right? He goes, "That's pipeline, that's back door, and this is off the wall. And this is the house that they named the off the wall after. And we're standing what is now the Billabong house.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm standing on that deck. It was the first place I stayed on the North Shore.
Wow.
Booyah.
And the guy goes, "That's all you're gonna need to know for the next 15 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Give me my money."
How much did he charge you?
It was like $180 or something for a week. Something ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I started seeing the burnt spoons and the fucking crack shit, and I'm like, "Oh, you're smoking. You're on fucking drugs." And my friend's money went missing. And so I call him out, "Hey, dude."
Yeah.
He was huge. He was 6'3",
Huge. Yeah, he's a big dude.
big human. I was 5'2".
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Where's my money?" He's like, laughs at me, walks away.
Yeah.
See Dane K. Aloha in the water. Tell him what happened. He's all, "Okay, I'll give you a ride to the airport. I'll be there, 9 o'clock. Tell him to give you your money or have it ready." So I go back, I tell him, "Hey, need my money. Dane's going to come over here and get my money."
How did you become friends with Dane?
Town and Country,
Okay.
back in the day.
Yeah.
Like that year before in California, my mom and Dane and everybody, they were partying.
Yeah.
And freaking, so I became instant family.
Wow.
Dane comes to the house, dude.
So Davey Miller was
Davey
in a bad
Miller.
way.
Yeah, Davey Miller looks out of his room, and I'm like, "It's for you." Open the door there. Whoa! Runs in. All of a sudden, cash. Right.
But you had to leave.
Left. Well, I was leaving.
You were
He was
leaving.
last day.
Okay.
I was already going.
Yeah, he's getting right back.
But then when I first got there, I didn't know where to paddle out, so I paddled out in between off the wall and pipe at
Yeah,
back
ain't-
door. It ain't.
It ain't
Yeah.
the
It
spot
ain't the
to paddle
spot.
out.
It ain't the spot. So I paddled out and got pounded by like a 6-footer at back door. And when I was 5'2", that's
Yeah.
terrifying. And it's like 2 feet deep. But that feeling of almost feeling like I was gonna die
Was a rush.
Psyched you up.
that was it. It turned me into this like adrenaline junkie.
Just like that.
Yeah, because
And I
you
was-
guys, I mean,
I was psyched from there on.
You guys, this guy.
And
well,
then I went-
not you, Lar.
Yeah.
But this guy here-
This guy's got, like you said, Big cojones.
Yeah.
But then I went home and got psyched.
Yeah.
Santa Cruz that next winter. I remember going up there and the waves were pumping. I went out and
So that was the moment where you kind of like
clicked.
This is what I want to do all day.
something actually broke
Yeah.
in your brain saying you can
this
do
is the
this.
best high ever. Because you get pumped.
Do you think there's any stories? Because I have a similar story going to Hawaii at an early age.
Yeah.
I mean, I went over there a couple times with my parents on like family trips, and then I don't think there's those stories anymore. I don't think they exist. Like just going over there, like just
charging
money
by yourself
and just like trying to figure
Yeah.
it out. Like
I mean, he was.
Now the communication, the connection, the world is so small now that everything is basically laid out for you.
yeah,
If you say to me as a kid, I didn't know, you're
Yeah.
full of shit.
yeah.
There's too much information
yeah.
But like
at your fingertips not to know. And if you don't know, you're just lazy.
But I rode for Quicksilver, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we got guys over there. Like you go stay with like Jack Johnson, or I think there's somebody else they had on it." But I'm like, what's their number? Like, how do I get a hold of these guys? Oh yeah, this is their address. Whatever. Just
When you get there, you'll find them.
yeah, pretty much. And I get picked up like Mickey and Marvin picked me up. And
His first time
he's
there.
at the VLAN projects.
Yep.
And they're like, this is here's
This
your
is where
couch,
you're leaving.
here's your couch,
Yeah.
and here's your deal. And I was so terrified. Like I brought my skateboard because that's
Yeah.
your transportation, and I would leave waiting for the sun to get up,
Quick as you could.
and I would be out, and then I'd come back right at dark, and I'd slide into the little like rats running through the house, and people
remember.
coming in and out,
Yeah.
and it was heavy. And I was so intimidated because Jack's house with his family. I'm, like, I'd see him surfing. I'd be like, "Hey, quick surf," like, want to,
over.
come stay over here.
Yeah.
Can I come, like, put my stuff in your like front yard, like, so I'd stash,
That was the sacred place.
yeah.
Was Jack's
But
house.
I stayed in the hostel there. I mean, there was years where
Things didn't
people were
work.
like, "Oh, you could." Rooms would be set up, or you would go and
Nothing would be
there.
Nothing would be there.
Yeah.
You'd be like, "What?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're just
Sketchyville.
off to fend for yourself.
Yeah.
at
But people,
14, 15 years old.
A lot of people, put out extending hand and slept on a lot of couches, but it's just good days.
So when did you turn pro? Or did you turn pro?
I thought I was kind of pro at one point. I was surfing the PSAAs.
Okay.
I think I made the quarters a few times, but
Yeah.
all my friends were just like losing. Like see some judging stuff. You'd be like, "Wait a minute, my friend just won that heat, and you just told him he got third." Like I was
Crazy.
like,
Yeah.
back in
Yeah.
the day, there was some sketchy judging
Inconsistent, yeah.
inconsistencies. Now it's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just ended up with it was kind of the same. It was just like this rollover from when I was 12. Okay, when I was 12 years old, I'd won the nationals. I was at the NSSA banquet. PT goes, "Okay, bro, you're on the national team. I'd like to offer you that."
Which was like body glove.
This was like Chris Frohoff,
or that as a national team.
like Tom Curran, like it was like the gnarliest
OP.
team ever. I think Matt Archibald or somebody was
Yeah.
on it. Like it was a gnarly
For sure.
It was like the best surfers in California, in America, were on the national team, the
Yeah.
NSSA national team. And I was like, "Mom, what and I was like, she's like, "Well, what do you want to do? You want to hang out with these guys, or do you want to hang out with these guys?" And it was like all my homies from the Dogtown were on the WSA All-Star team, and I was like, "Well, I'm going to surf for the WSL,
Yeah.
the WSA." And the guys my mom's like, "Okay, that's your decision."
yeah.
And so at a young age, my mom was kind of like always fending me off to follow my heart and happiness instead of like my mind and structure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so at 12, I went over there. PT told me, "Oh, dude, you just ruined your surf life." At 12 years old.
Yeah.
Tell a 12-year-old that.
I had.
He did, straight up. He's like, "You're done. You just ruined your surf life." I'm like, "Oh, cool, Mom! Mom!"
Done.
And then my mom's like, "What did he say?" Went over, just lit him up.
Yeah. Because that was
Lit him up.
That was the route that young hot rippers took. And I remember like the older generation. It was the national team was sponsored by OP.
Yeah.
And everybody had to have that was your sponsor. Like you had to
NSSA
wear.
was the
And
was
then
the shit.
And then
the shit.
And then it went to
competitive to pro.
And then it went to
surfing.
body glove, and you were body glove everything. Like
Yeah.
you had the national team sticker on your board, and this is
Yeah.
a national team sticker, and
Yeah.
then whatever corporate sponsor they had at the time. And I was riding for Quicksilver. I'm like, I don't want to wear that stuff. I don't want to ride
Yeah.
that thing. I want to be on,
Quicksilver.
I want to be on Quicksilver and be
Yeah.
cool. Like it was weird, but yeah, I had similar. Like that was kind of a no-no.
Anyway,
Like,
it just got to this point to
but
where
it pushed you to be more.
I went off to that side. So then, cut to what we were just talking about, the contest. I was watching all this weird political stuff go on, and my high just telling me, "Fuck this, bail." And so I bailed with all my friends and went and surfed. I lost all my sponsors and was surfing for Bear with Terrence McNulty.
Bear.
Bear.
The fictional.
Remember Bear? They
Yeah.
turned that brand into,
The-
and this guy Jeff Donor over in Hawaii I still know. I used to stay at his house on the couch, but through Bear I hooked up with him. There was a few other guys that were a part of the company, and I was, on the team and surfing Pipeline and hanging out with freaking, guys on the North Shore and just doing anything I could.
See, I thought you were on Quicksilver a lot younger than.
No.
Yeah.
So I got over there when I was like 18, 19, 20.
Riding for Bear?
Riding
Yeah.
for Bear, strapping a quarter pound of weed to my leg and flying to Hawaii and dropping it off and selling it so I could pay for my stay there.
Yeah.
I was doing anything I could. I would work my ass off all summer in restaurants.
To be over there for the winter.
To go over there for the winter.
Yeah.
There was the holy grail was Pipeline. That was it. That was what it was. There was no other route. Because
Yeah.
I stopped surfing contests. I loved surfing, barrels, and that was it. That was like the only way for me and through my life was just when I was little. I used to watch Pipeline, videos, and then I finally got to go over there and surf it. I was so addicted to it that I just did anything, and it was the only thing I was blinded.
How is it like getting used to the pecking order and dealing with
Yeah.
like the lineup
That
itself?
was freaking horrible.
A lot of,
So,
lot of
'cause you-
closeouts,
you started-
Well, Johnny
Lot on the
Boy
head.
to freaking Derek to Mike to Marvin Foster, Dane K. Aloha. I mean, Tom Stone. You had
Ronnie.
Mike Akima. There was all of these, just this huge group of Hawaiian surfers at Pipeline
dominated.
that
Yeah.
dominated.
Yeah.
There was no it was so, and localism and being in the water as a Howley kid and just sitting there just like a mouse and just underneath all those guys and they'd paddle for a wave and you'd calculate and you'd be like, they're not going to catch this one.
But I can't risk dropping in or.
He's not going to get it. And then all of a sudden you'd whip it and fly into a wave and just whoop-ah, tomahawk at the bottom, just eat shit because there was no possible way that you were actually going to make it.
Yeah.
But you had to whip yourself into it and go for it because if
Those
you
are your only
didn't
chances.
attempt it, you'd never get a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
You would never get respect.
it wasn't even respect. It was just to actually end up
Catch
on
a
a
wave.
wave
Yeah.
off the peak. And then finally, after
But you
time,
gained respect
You
for-
gained respect in the sense that you would end up entering that system with those guys so much that they'd be like, "Oh, go."
Yeah.
Because they're looking for the gyms, and they're
Yeah.
not going. They know which ones
Yeah.
to go on and which
Yeah.
not to go on, and they're
It was-
like,
it
"Well,
was
I'm
brutal.
just going to wait for the next perfect one." Where you're like, "I got to go on anything I can."
Yeah. Holly's gonna get scraps.
So you got scraps.
Yeah.
But you know what? You
You got some-
you go out on the really big days that there's not a lot of guys out on.
Yeah.
And the
Washeries
stormy days,
and stormy.
you'd end up with a couple of photos.
So
Yeah.
what
When
was
was your
that?
first pipe photo?
And then you end up I got a couple of photos from Pipe.
Young.
No, 17, 18. And
Well,
then-
that story that you posted a while back about you just got on Quicksilver or something like that,
Yeah.
and then they sent you to where you went to
Yeah.
Hawaii.
Yeah, I was in a weird position. I was 20, 21,
Yeah.
20. And,
But you'd already been going to Pipe.
I'd been going to surf Pipe, but then my parents, my mom and my friend's parents were hey, what are you going to do? You know?
You're
Gotta
20
go-
years old yet.
I'm working in restaurants. I'm not going to college yet. And I went to an Indian sweat lodge.
Indian Sweat Lodge.
Yeah. Where they basically take these rocks and they have this ceremony. And you have
Like
this-
American Indian.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have basically an outer body experience and vision of what you're
Did you take
where you're
anything
going.
or
No, just drink a lot of
Just-
water and
meditation?
get into a state of like separation.
Wow.
And,
Okay.
And I came out of it, and the guy
Who set this up?
it's one of my buddies. I think it was Steve Segrist, is like set it up. And when I came out of it, the guys were like, "Dude, you're on the perfect path." And then I went down to Quicksilver with Ricky Massey.
Yeah.
And talked to Robbie Todd. And Robbie Todd's all, let me, he was like looking at my portfolio and the whole thing. He's like, okay, let's go. We'll go talk to Dan Kwok. And so I go into Dan Kwok's office, and he's all, well, kind of some cool photos, but I really don't need another blonde-haired kid from California think he's going to go to Hawaii and be a fucking hero. Sorry. And basically kicked me out of the office. So I left in tears. And then...
Because Rick rode for them, right?
Yeah, Ricky was riding for them.
Okay.
And then Robbie Todd's all, let me just go talk to him. Goes back and comes back out with $500, an airplane ticket to Hawaii, a short john, and some clothes. And he's like, good luck, bro. Make it happen.
Wow.
And that was it. So I went to Hawaii one last winter, so to speak, before I was going to go back to school and try and like go to college and like all that stuff. And I was staying on floors, just like same old rat pack.
Same old winter.
But I'm older.
Yeah.
I'm 20, 21. And
you paid your dues, and you're
but
moved up the pecking order, right?
sitting on the beach smoking a joint with a bunch of people, like, and it was 200 guys in the water, and it was a classic pipe day. It was second reef waves, and I go, fuck, it's so crowded, you know, super baked, and I can't remember who it was sitting next to me. He goes, yeah, but it just takes one, man.
Just takes one.
All it takes is one.
Yeah.
So I was like,
You're right.
you're right.
Yeah.
Got on my bike, rode back to Rocky Point, where I was living on the floor in the garage on a fold-out couch, literally on the grease stain. Got my shit, rode back down to, I think I was on somebody's handlebars when I went back because I borrowed somebody's bike. Paddled out, saw Noah Johnson in the lineup, and he was like paddling out to second reef. And I was paddling. I got to first reef. It was so crowded that I started paddling to second reef. I see Noah Johnson, and he's all, there's like, you can kind of get a couple chip-ins right here. There's a chip-in right here. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, fuck it. And outside was like 60 guys at second reef, and there was like 150 at first reef. I mean, it was, you could have walked on the fucking
Humans.
It was the most beautiful day. So I get about 50 yards away from Noah, and a wave comes, and I'm like, I'm in the spot. Wow. And I look at him, and he like yells at me, go! And I'm like, fuck, okay. And I'm riding
Roll in.
a Mayhem. Okay. And Mayhem, this was the first boards he really made for pipe. I catch the wave on a roll in, basically. Yeah. But then it jacks on the reef, and I go to do a bottom turn. There's so much rocker in the board.
Just stop.
I fucking went backwards off the back of the board, like almost fell off the board like this, threw my arms up over my head backwards behind me, and I'm fucking in the bowl, and I'm in this huge fucking cavern like of the wave, and Don King, I don't even see him, but he's underneath me. He's over here. Like usually you're pulling into the barrel and the guy's in front of you.
Yeah, you're looking down.
So I'm not, I don't even see him, but fucking, whoa, I pull it back over to get onto my board. I ride the wave out.
Get spit out.
Basically, I was never really deep in the barrel. I was like in the pocket, but basically it was like the only wave I caught.
Yeah.
You know? That was it.
Yeah.
I like bail. I'm there for another month.
But a lot of people saw that.
Right?
Right?
A lot of people see this wave.
Yeah.
I'm there for another month. I'm hanging out with like Jeremy Biles. Remember Jeremy Biles? The
Sounds
Australian
familiar.
guy.
Yeah,
We're at the sugar mill.
Party?
At a bar, and you know, there's North Shore party, like everybody's partying, and he's like, you and me. I'm like, what? He's like, I got the center spread, mate. You got the cover, right? I'm like,
you didn't even know.
No, and so I think he's just fucking with me.
Yeah.
Right? So cut to, I'm in the garage. I'm sitting there. I've heard about this from another person. And
You hadn't seen the man.
Surfer, Don shot for
Surfer magazine. So I'm sitting there
Yeah.
and freaking like Kaleo Roberson and all the Maui guys were all staying in the house I was staying in. And they would like literally stay up later just to fuck with me and make me sick. Because I was sleeping where everybody hung out on the fold out.
Yeah.
They all finally go to sleep. I'm sitting there. There's a magazine upside down with the search ad on it. I flip it over, and there's my cover shot
Why already?
on the table. You know,
A
corners.
month later.
This is like over. Like, this is March.
Okay.
Something like, or like way later, and the corners of the mag are all ripped off for rolling joints, just, you know, putting carbs in it, and freaking there's a fart coming out of my ass. And it says
doodled all over
says
it.
Howley Kook on it, you know, with an arrow to me. There's a freaking like joint coming out of my mouth. Like it was like, you know, remember what you did to me?
Yeah, it's awesome.
People. Anyway, there it was, and my like whole fucking life stream had come true. Don King got the photo of me at Pipeline on Surfer Magazine, and I was like, wow,
So
Dude,
killer.
why did it take so long for you to finally see
because
that?
people are hiding it from me.
You're kidding me.
Because I was some fucking kid from California.
And they're so
that
jealous.
shouldn't have gotten the cover. But because I had a Quicksilver logo on my board, and Robbie Todd went back in, and then I came home and Danny Kwok first went, "Oh, I knew you could do it!" And I'm
Bastard.
like, "Fuck you! You didn't fucking tell me shit." That's another fucking.
Yeah.
I watched him steal fucking Bruce Irons and start Volcom
Yeah.
right underneath everybody's nose, and I was like, "Dude, what are you fucking?
Yeah.
You want to surf for Quicksilver or not?" I'm like, yeah. He's like, "Shut up."
Yeah. I was.
So that's fucking a huge milestone. And
Yeah.
It basically set your career off then.
Yeah, I mean, I was making $500 a month after that.
But at the time,
Then I started rolling it.
It was
every bit of money I made. I went on a surf trip with eclectic groups, created content, became a lifestyle surfer. We started doing all these photo shoots. I
Yeah.
actually fucking brought Danny Kwok ad prices for Ray Gun, Details, Spin, Rolling Stone.
yeah, because they were going big.
There was another company or another magazine. I called them up. I got the fucking ad prices. So I found out all these numbers because this was, to me, we were just advertising in Surf Mags, talking to the same fucking 50,000 people. I'm like, dude, we need to fucking. And I was thinking about it for myself, right?
Yeah.
Bigger picture.
But you weren't working for him yet, right?
I was a surfer.
Yeah.
So I bring him all these things, and Danny Kwok just goes, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. That's a
Can't do
pipe
that.
dream, bro.
That's a pipe dream, bro. It's too much money. 6 months later,
They're doing it.
every one of the magazines I brought him, he fucking opens a campaign and
Yeah.
company grows to like $150 million. Tells me, "Oh, I'll take care of you.
Yeah.
I'll give you a board riders club, kid." Sure, great. Santa Monica board riders club. Fuck, I'm in. Like,
Yeah.
guess what? There's no fucking board riders club.
Yeah.
I didn't get shit. He got a fucking couple $1 million bonus or whatever. I never got a fucking thing.
So Strider Wasilewski was
Brought him all of those fucking campaigns.
Your idea.
And then he told me, "That's just the evolution, bro."
Yeah. Crazy. I mean, you think it'd be different in the surf market world when it's supposed to be this ghetto boy like family network.
Yeah, but you know what?
It is,
he
but it
stole,
isn't.
Yeah.
He stole his way into that company,
Yeah.
and then he stole everybody's shit all the way through that company.
Yeah.
And then he ended up getting paid out in the end.
Huge.
But but let's look at the situation. Like he got a lot of things happened where he ended up basically his family, his kids are his dad, so his kids are still there for him. But he ended up getting a divorce and going through some heavy shit because of I think my theory is the world's always watching.
Yeah.
Always.
Karma.
Well, if you believe in karma,
Yeah.
karma exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Eddie Rothman told me that if karma was real, he'd be dead. A long time ago.
Yeah.
And so I realized that a lot of things in life are what you believe.
For
right?
sure.
and what you perceive to be real is real.
Yeah.
And that's your reality.
Yeah.
And letting how things affect you, you know, like if you let things affect you, whether negative or positive, then that's kind of the route, you know, it's going to take you.
Yeah.
So you just
So
think different.
where do we go from here? What happens next?
So you're working, you know, pro surfing angles. You're trying to
I'm just
do modeling stuff.
I surfed,
Nothing?
modeled, freaking did photo shoots and
Started
runway
becoming a
shows and
lifestyle.
I was pretty much one of the faces of Quicksilver,
Yeah.
as you can remember. And,
Yeah.
And Kelly Slater was the competitive side of it, and
You were the
I was-
charger, balls
I
to
was
the
just
walls
like,
guy.
Yeah, this like kid they took on photo shoots and Dewey Nicks and all these rad photographers, and we did amazing stuff, campaigns and
Bunch of those
Indonesia
trips.
trips, and just like ended up on my dream. You know, my life became pretty amazing.
Yeah.
You know,
Traveling the world and
traveling
surfing.
the world for 15 years. Then I went. I was surfing Chopu a lot, and I blew my shoulder out there. Dislocated it and blew it all to pieces. Had surgery, and during that time was when I started working. Big mistake. Bob, kept telling Bob McKnight, "Fuck, man, we got to do, you know, what's this, what's that?" He's like, "Would you just shut up and just come to me with a solution if you have a problem?"
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right. And so I came to him with the solutions, went after the others. So then the next thing you knew, I was like, he's like, fuck, these are great ideas, you know, like, and it started working,
Yeah.
which was, stupid. I ended up freaking with a big office and thought this is what I was. I was overweight. I was not taking care of myself. I was freaking
Depressed. When you get hurt, you get depressed.
I was doing drugs. I was in a great place if you looked at it from the face value
Yeah.
of what you thought was the life, right? In a
Yeah.
corporate environment with a great job and a freaking office and
Yeah.
boom, traveling around.
That's the
still.
opposite spectrum where you
You
just
got the
came
salary, you got the
from.
title.
No responsibility in
But
surfing.
To tell you the truth, like, it just wasn't me.
Yeah.
You know, it's not this whole ladder. But it was a great school of
So
understanding
wait, can we go
corporate
back?
life.
You said you were going back to school. Did you?
I never went back to
You
school.
never went to school.
Because my mom was like, well, you can always go to school. Look at me. She went back to school way later.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah. Follow your dreams.
I started
figure it out.
getting paid to travel the world and surf. She's like, well, you ain't going to do that. Nobody's going to do that for you later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Milk it
You
now.
can pay for yourself, but fucking ride the wave while you can.
Right.
So I just went around the
So
world.
how old were you when you got hurt? And first of all, Chopu, like, was that? When did you start going to Chopu? Because
I started going over there in 96 with Hank Photo, and we did a trip over there and surfed with Raymana and hung out, and freaking just me, Braden Diaz, Manoa Drole, and Raymana. We would just surf perfect waves and hang out on boats, and we
Dude.
stayed at the Pension Beaujolais, like in the middle of nowhere. We stayed at Raymana's house, and we just like would surf Chos.
Yeah.
Just
Because I
photos.
mean,
And then-
you guys were.
then a
I mean,
big
I wouldn't
swell
say
came.
pioneers of it,
We
but you
started
were like the
doing-
first couple dudes that were fucking.
Yeah, we were doing
Chopu on
we
the
were
map,
doing
right?
tow-ins with this really shitty jet ski, a rope, like a boat rope,
Oh my gosh.
and a water bottle tied to the end of it. That's what.
So you didn't
That
rip
was
your
where
fingers
your
off.
handle was.
Yeah, a handle was a water bottle,
Duct tape.
but he couldn't come and save us because this jet ski
Would boggle
Would go
down.
fast enough.
Yeah.
couldn't go fast enough. So
Yeah.
he could get us. He could barely get the ski up fast enough to get
Out
tow
of the
somebody, but he couldn't go into the zone. So we'd let go of the rope, and when you let go of the rope, you were letting
committed.
go. of the
Wow.
rope. And so you were just pulling into freaking caverns with no life vest.
I
and
don't
freaking,
understand how
It was
you
pretty
get
rad.
the courage
Yeah.
to do
Nobody
all these
out.
things.
Just you
No.
guys. Yeah. Nobody.
Nobody around.
Yeah.
Nobody even in the lineup.
Yeah.
And
you've seen
was
it.
pretty aggressive on like because he was notorious going out to outer reefs, putting
Yeah.
himself in like back. He was pretty on it as far as
Yeah, he
putting
was
his
the best guy photographer
Yeah.
wise, and so I had hired him. Then we would just go to take photos and just do trips there, and just we had the best time.
You're like
Quicksilver
200
years
guys
were
at a
amazing.
pipe or 5 guys at a
Yeah,
trip.
it was incredible.
So you tweaked your shoulder there on a trip.
I was there for the contest, the trials, and we were all there in the morning, and I charged away, got to the bottom, purled, and freaking had my arm out like this, and just was like hitting cement. I was underwater, my t-shirt wrapped around my neck and my shoulder, and I couldn't move. And I remember coming up like this, choking on my shirt, and my shoulder was out, and they were like, oh! And then like I was like one-arming, trying to get back to the channel. I got pounded. Ended up getting a boat ride in. They popped my arm back after like 2 hours. But it was so fucked up that it kept happening.
Yeah.
And so Warren Kramer did the surgery.
Been fine since?
Said
No
it.
other issues?
No, I actually went fucking surfing too early, towed in, same thing. Blasted it again, and then went back and had to get surgery again. Same shoulder by Uncle Warren. We put it back together again, and then I waited the time for it to heal all the way. And
So-
it's just, still.
So how old were you when that happened and then you started working for Quicksilver?
Fuck.
23, 24? Or?
No. This was, I was like, I want to say 30.
Huh. So you were world traveling
Yeah.
for Quicksilver.
I was like 29.
Yeah.
Okay. And then were you married already or not yet? Just married?
At that point, I just met my wife, and she was taking good care of me. And
You're like,
So
I
you
gotta
were
step
hurt.
up and do something. I'm hurt. I gotta get a real job. I gotta
started
just leave.
working, and
Yeah.
I was still surfing pro too, but
Just selective trips.
I just made the mistake of like raising my hand.
Yeah.
Raising your hand to do work.
Because then once I got in there, I was kind of locked into it. But then it was like,
But it's pretty fucking awesome.
well,
that
here's the deal.
you're-
You get to a point to where you think it's awesome. You come out of a surf career into a work career, and you have a path. But then you realize the path of the surf industry by the people who are then running it. I mean, literally, I had the pipe house, the Quicksilver pipe house, in my hands. I was renting it. The owner told me, "Here, yeah, give me $700,000. It's yours." I go, "Quicksilver. This is the Quicksilver house now. You guys buy this house, $700,000."
Nope.
Oh, we don't buy houses.
Yeah.
I told the guy next door. He's like, "Hey, if you know anybody who wants to buy our house too, we're selling it."
Yeah.
I was on a fucking kayaks trip with Clint Moncada, who was running Volcom Hawaii.
Yeah.
Hey, this house is for sale for $800,000, dude. Write a pipeline.
Yeah.
He's all, "Oh fuck, thanks, I'll buy it."
Yeah.
Yep.
Bought the house.
Booyah.
Then they bought the house next door. Now those fucking houses are worth
But
20 times
Yeah.
the money.
20
But
times.
oh hey, we don't buy houses. That's not our business.
Yeah.
But then I realized.
Didn't Bob McKnight had a house at Sunset though?
that
Yeah.
Quicksilver had already gone the wrong direction
Yeah.
because they were thinking of pure business sense instead of a passionate sense of surfing.
Yeah.
For sure.
And that's where the surf industry went down the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why
Big box, mainstream.
let's get big, let's fucking make money, let's forget about everything else.
Yeah.
Just the brand. Then they start, the brand and then all the kids were like, why am I going to pay $20 more for a T-shirt with a big Quicksilver logo on it when I can get this bitch in nice soft cotton shirt for half the price?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and they were just too full of themselves.
Yeah. But let's talk about this though, right? Here you are, high school graduate, right? And your calling card is Mr. Pipeline,
Yeah.
right? Chopu, you're a fucking charger.
Yeah.
And
Getting paid to surf to go around the world.
you get paid to go around the world, but then you're also savvy, right?
Yeah.
You've got street smarts
Smarts from growing up like that.
and a business sense, right? Like you had ideas that you
Well, I wouldn't call it a business sense, but I had a heart for what I was doing.
right, but the idea to
You had ideas, and the ideas
to
were
advertise in a bigger
benefited.
But when you actually act from a place of passion and from your heart,
it
when
works.
you're doing stuff,
It works best.
that translates.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This other shit that everybody started doing doesn't.
Yeah.
totally. And what I'm saying though,
Yeah.
Strider, is like you accomplished something that not very many people get to accomplish with a high school
Diploma.
diploma.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You were in a
No, I
probably
definitely
a six figure salary,
bridged
right?
the gap between being an athlete and going to work,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which was it was awesome. And it was my time at Quicksilver. I was there for almost 20 years, and it was incredible.
Yeah, and that's a thing that I want to congratulate you on and celebrate what your accomplishment of being I'm a fucking high school guy. He's a high school guy.
But go to college, you guys.
But go to college, get it.
Not everybody gets what they
open up your opportunities.
Yeah,
it's just a better badge on your resume.
Yeah,
you can have that.
That's the thing that I like to point out is bro.
But follow your passion.
You are super legitimate. The authenticity.
Yeah, paid your dues. Authentic
is all there, and you became a fucking Quicksilver executive because of your surfing prowess, right?
Yeah.
And your personality and your know-how of the business without having, you went to the school of surfing.
Yeah.
And that helped you get that position. And how long did you do that for?
Yeah, I worked for 4 years.
Yeah.
5 years, 4 years.
Cool.
And then it was the writing was on the wall, and I was just I was there, but I wasn't really there. And they started pushing me. The middle management started pushing me around to okay, you're gonna work over here in the sales department now, because I don't know if they thought maybe I'd fail there, but then I excelled there.
Yeah.
And I started doing cool things because I loved the guys at the shops, and I had this relationship, and so I'd do rad things, and they would be stoked on things I did for them, and it was just this cool. And anyway, and then it was it's getting bad, and you can stay here if you want to, or you can take this golden parachute and you can get paid for a year full salary and find something.
Yeah.
And so I took that because I had realized that things didn't look great down the line for the company.
And it's not a secret. It's not a secret. Quicksilver went through bankruptcy.
Yeah, it was
right? I mean, they, like you said, they hired people that were outside, they were non-endemic, and they were doing it for business reasons and not really coming from the heart.
They bit off too much.
Yeah.
Well, they got talked into this, that whole Rosinal deal was what really broke their back.
That's what really...
And that was a coup d'etat inside deal. It just...
But that, at that time, Europe was on fire, and the brand and Quicksilver, and that was they thought that was their anchor for Europe and going into the snow, which they already were doing good. But then they bought Mervin, and then they were
their eyes got
which was good. Mervin was awesome.
Then they had the board rider
and the whole thing.
But then they had the board riders vision, and then they had
everything was good until Rosinal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which everybody said was a bad idea.
And the whole industry kind of got caught up in being a fucking ticker tape stock market thing,
Yeah.
Which,
IPO this and IPO that and make millions and
which almost everybody kind of had to go through, right? And now we're on a reset button, kind of.
Kind of.
Well, yeah.
Major reset.
So then what happened, Mr. Waz?
So you had this year transition, your golden year, to kind of figure out things. Where did you go?
Surfing.
I'm back on the sponsorship.
I literally just went surfing.
Yeah.
It just was about 6 months into it, I started doing surf lessons.
For the
where I lived.
Rich and famous.
Yeah. So a lot of movie stars, musicians, etc. People just wanted that.
All these people living at Little Doom.
Everybody wanted to surf.
Yeah.
And it was right under my nose, and it was crazy lucrative.
Yeah. For them, they're
crazy.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm doing what I love. They're getting what they love. They're just stoked. And so I went on this run of just doing surf lessons, hanging out at Little Doom and at my house, and just
Was it fun because of the money, or fun to watch these people learn?
It was honestly more about the people and the relationships I was having.
Yeah.
And watching their stoke level, it was insane.
That's cool.
And I was leaving happy.
Yeah.
My life was in a good.
You're I'm getting paid to do this.
I was so much happier than I was when I worked.
Quicksilver.
At Quicksilver. So, and then it rolled into Shade sunscreen and the WSL. About a year and a half later, after I got
after you left Quicksilver.
Yeah.
So how did Shade come about?
It was one of my neighbors. He's like, yeah, my son, what he has this formula, but there's like, I was like, huh? Anyway, so that's a whole nother story that we're going to put away.
Yeah. for next episode.
But you started Shade.
But I started Shade Sunscreen, and I was like,
which I love.
there was a bunch of names and stuff there that were available or were not available, and I was like, this is the name I wanted.
Yeah.
And my partner's like, no, we can't wait for that. The trademark lawyer's like, don't do it. You're never gonna get it. You're wasting time. And it was kind of a red flag right away. But I was like, no, I'm waiting for that. This is what I want.
Yeah.
And Coppertone owned it. And they have like a grace period after their time runs out on it to renew it. And they never did.
On Shade.
Yeah.
I had a dermatologist, and that was the sunscreen. And this was like back in the early 90s, you know?
Yeah.
And then Shade was the one. He's like, this is the one sunscreen that I recommend. And it was Shade.
No
And-
way.
Yeah.
From Coppertone.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was weird because it was like you couldn't find it in any surf shop or anything.
Yeah.
It was, you had to go to like the pharmacy play. You know.
Yeah. They discontinued it
Yeah.
for some reason, and the name Shade was available.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
How long's been?
It was pending, and so I had to wait through this whole thing.
Yeah.
And I remember I was with Cristobal Nicole and TT, his dad, in this like amazing secret spot in Peru when I found out about that I got the name Mark, because there was this house there with a satellite in the middle of nowhere, dude. And I mean nowhere.
Dude, you've gotten to surf so many
dude.
different crazy places, I bet.
Oh, dude. And anyway, I'll never forget.
The land of lefts, man.
Yeah.
Peru.
Epic.
Well, let's stop talking about that yet. But so Shade, how long has Shade been around?
Shade's been around for like 5 years.
Nice.
And I went through a rough patch with my partner and that whole thing, and now I finally own it 100%.
Yep.
And it's about to fly.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Shade.com.
Shade.com.
Shadesunscreen.com.
Shadesunscreen.com.
Yeah. Get it.
Check it out.
Get it.
You know what? It's freaking amazing, to tell you the truth. And sorry to anybody who hasn't been able to get it, but you'll be able to get it soon.
Yeah.
So at the same time, you said
WSL.
You got to WSL.
Yeah, WSL.
So what was the inspiration or onus or what the idea that came to you that said, hey, I want to work with the WSL?
I had gotten the chance to do a broadcast with Jay Johnson in Cabo.
What event was that?
It was a QS down in Cabo, and I had done something before through Quicksilver.
I was going to say, I thought you did a couple.
I did one in Brazil. It's Saquarema. It was like a 6,000. And they needed somebody to do it, and I wanted to do it, and nobody wanted to go to Brazil, and they were like, send Strider to Brazil, he'll go.
Yeah.
So I did one of those.
In Cabo.
Then I did Cabo, which was just free form, out of control, drinking margaritas and,
Zippers or the Rock.
You're speaking my language.
The Rock.
Yeah.
And with Chris Cote and Anastasia Ashley and like this funny group of people. Anyway, it was really fun. We had the best time ever.
Epic.
And then this whole thing came around. There was the opportunity. WSL took over. It was a new, basically, face of it, and they hired this crew to come in and do it. And they were done. And I was like, dude, you guys, they're like, sorry, we're done. And I was like,
Already hired everybody.
yeah. And I was like, but you're kind of blowing it.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, look at that crew and tell me which one of those guys actually looks like the quintessential surfer.
Yeah.
And the guy looks at me and he goes, huh.
You got to sell the part, man.
You're kind of right.
Yeah.
And I was freaking
Hungry
and wanted to do it.
You're like this, though. You fell for that?
No, it was the truth. That's
It was
what
the truth, yeah.
It was my gut feeling.
Yeah.
Because I love the crew.
If
that's
it wasn't
there.
you,
but I'm
they
looking at
needed
him
somebody
and I'm
for
going,
that.
none of those guys really looks like
The surfer.
the quintessential surfer.
Yeah.
And they're all amazing. Not that they're not good looking people, but
Yeah.
they're just like,
Well, you got Potts, you got Peter Mel, you got Kaipo,
well,
you got...
it wasn't even Kaipo then. I think it was Todd Klein.
Okay.
It was, you know,
You had Ross.
they had
at certain events.
Ross, but you kind of look at those guys; they're all pretty cleaned up, you know, and there wasn't much edge on it.
Yeah.
Anyway, it gave me a chance. I did a stand up in front of every one of my buddies at the U.S. Open on a stage in front of everybody, dude. It was-
They told you they wanted you.
no, I had to go down there in front
Audition.
of everybody and
Nail it.
and drop a line in front of everybody without being distracted, and everybody's yelling at me, "Hey, Shire, what are you doing?" You know, like just basically making fun of me.
Yeah.
And I'm standing there with a microphone in front of a camera, trying not to like,
During the U.S. Open.
during the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, you know what? And thankfully, the guy Jed Pearson, the producer, he was like, he said that he saw something there that he thought it would work.
Yeah, you could zone out the distractions and deliver.
Yeah, and I was there with Pat Parnell
Yeah.
doing the stand-ups. And anyway, long story longer, I ended up going, and he's like, well, you're not really hired, but you can come and do some of the like girls contests and some of the big wave stuff. And then the next thing you know, I was going to Brazil. I didn't go to Australia. I went to Brazil, and they had me do something, and I remember like them asking me to be a certain way, and I was like, God, that sucks.
Yeah.
And I did it, and it sucked. And I was like, they're like, what did you think? I was like, I think it sucked.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I thought you did pretty good. I was like, that sucked.
Yeah.
And they're like, huh.
And you're your own worst critic.
You know,
like,
and they're like, oh well. And then I was just over it. Not over it, but I was like, there's got to be a better way.
Yeah.
You know, you guys hired me to be me.
Yeah.
And so they let me open the door.
Yeah,
a little.
don't handicap me.
They
Don't turn me
actually,
into
so they
somebody
gave me a
else.
little more leash, and that's why I became kind of who I am now.
Yeah.
They just kind of let
Is
me
it-
go, and then every time I'd get too far, they'd pull the leash, and
So was there a format like, hey, we need two guys in the booth rotating.
Yeah,
we need a guy.
It was sportscasting 101.
Yeah.
It was very straight edge. It was really just kind of, you know, it was just too clean almost. But that was the directive from management and the ownership.
Yeah.
Right.
But was there like a place for somebody in the water that they already had mapped out, like the booth guys, the guy,
Yeah.
you know, so
and
they're
Pete
like,
Mel was that guy in the water too.
yeah, so
And
they
then he
need to
couldn't do an
rotate.
event. I went out. It was Fiji.
Yeah, there's a lot of events,
And then
with
I
the-
got into it, and then I just became the water guy.
Yeah.
And they actually like, you know, the whole booth thing. I don't want to sit in a booth.
Yeah, you want to be out there
I wanna
interacting with the crowd and
I
being
wanna
on
be with
in the mix,
people,
feel the
with my
energy.
people. I want to be where I'm
Yeah.
supposed to be and have creative like freedom, so to speak.
I think it's awesome getting that perspective. You know, obviously you got water angles and you got drone angles, but to have commentating, like, yeah, I saw the fins out the back. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
when you're,
The
it's
psycho-
one thing seeing it, but when you're hearing the commentating,
It brings you into
yeah,
and onto the field
yeah,
when you're
for sure.
if you can translate and, you know, articulate what's happening
From that perspective,
with the passion
yeah.
and the feeling of the athlete and yourself,
Yeah.
to meet that in the water
Yeah.
is one of the most important things, I think, to me, if
Yeah.
you're a viewer,
For sure.
because it gives you the opportunity that nobody else really has, and that's the feeling of actually being inside of
Yeah, the best. I got to tuck my mic in and
place,
take
you
one
know?
on the head.
You know,
And
you got to be there.
And
Yeah.
you're like, and sometimes, you know, at those places, oh, this one's swinging wide. Hold on, you guys.
Yeah,
I
I
got to
mean,
duck dive this
You get
wave.
pounded. There's stuff that happens.
and
like,
that's what's great.
there's so many different.
You can't write that. You got to have
Honestly-
I had guys landing on me at Chopu, like
Yeah, that one. Oh, who was it?
Michelle Perez, like kicked
Yeah,
because
he
it was so
almost
west, you
killed
couldn't
you.
actually see
Straight into
over
the
it. So they'd come over the lip, and if I was any, you know, it was like, oh shit.
couple
Wasn't
people
it
into the
Gabriel
wind.
Gabriel
Felipe that
Medina-
just went right over your
Gabriel
head?
Medina, flew right over me, lifted his board up out.
That was sick.
That
Yeah,
was
he actually
crazy.
grabbed his board to like
you
throw
know,
it out.
and
of the
then
way.
and then afterward, it's just such a radical thing. Like everybody's like, you know, my relationship with the athletes is so good that they were like stoked and like, hey, sorry about that, you know, whatever, in the middle of a heat. But it wasn't intentional. Nothing was like
Yeah.
planned. But it just becomes a kind of a out of control situation that, like, it's a train wreck,
Yeah.
that never crashes.
Yeah.
So you want to watch it, you're watching, waiting for the crash, but
Controlled
it doesn't-
chaos.
Yeah, and you end up like it ended up being good, and then the guys from the tower are like, hey, Strider, the judges want you to move out of the area, and then the crowd out in the lineup just like you yelling and screaming it back to the tower, boo, like shut up, like it was like it's crazy to see the way that people really enjoy the environment.
I gotta tell you, man, like
In which I get to be in, and it's rad for me. I'm freaking
the evolution
so
of
cool.
the WSL from start to finish, the production, the quality. WSL fucking kills it.
Yeah.
Like,
And what people don't understand is creating that content in places like Tahiti, which if you haven't been there, especially Chopu at the end of the road, you're a fucking mile off in the outer reef, and you got elements moving and shaking.
to bring it to you live,
it's pretty cool.
into your
It's
living
heavy.
room or computer,
Yeah.
and do it like
Is that when you're-
consistently in quality. Like I'm fucking psyched.
Is
I
that
can't
one of
believe
your
it happened in
favorite-
our lifetime.
Is that one of your favorite events?
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh,
Because
Chopu?
you're passionate
Especially
for
when
that
it's
wave.
pumping.
Are you going to G-Land?
Yeah. Well, actually, none of us are going anywhere until we get
Contract?
signed up.
Yeah.
Nobody's signed up for next year.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm good.
That's gonna be a good substitute for like Fiji and some of the other spots that
It'll be
kind
sick.
of changed
Hopefully
and
it's
stuff.
pumping and it's just
Yeah.
hopefully it
Cross our
translates.
fingers
Yeah.
for G-Land.
It'll be sick.
Are you pretty? I know you work for the WSL, but are you pretty happy with like their contest lineup? Like
Yeah. I mean,
pretty
it's insane.
pretty
To tell you the
diverse,
truth,
like all
it's-
the conditions.
It's all over the joint.
Yeah.
There's, you've got amazing places with history, like Bells. Like
So
a lot of the surfers might I don't know, there's just something about it. Like I was in the lineup out there, and luckily for me I get to do this kind of crazy stuff, but
Yeah.
you got a break between the semis and the final at 6 to 8 feet and absolutely
You whip a
perfect.
couple.
You got freaking Hell's Bells coming in over the loudspeakers. You got thousands of people on the bluff, and it's the afternoon, and you're the only guy in the water. And Tony Ray's got a jet ski, and he's just dropping you into freaking perfect, Bell's Bowl. I mean, that kind of stuff is priceless.
It's
dude.
priceless.
So,
Like
that's
Those
the perks-
moments for
perks
me.
of the job.
I mean,
Bro, you're
and
the
Bells
dude
isn't,
that's
isn't
doing
the
that.
favorite. The Bells isn't the favorite place on Tormir for some surfers, but
Yeah.
like I had chicken skin and was losing my mind being
the
a part of
energy, the
history.
history, and everything. Yeah.
And
we
like
talking-
walking out into the water, watching Mark Akalupo, who had that Aki current thing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
watching Mark come out of and like connecting with Mark Akalupo
Yeah.
in the shore break at Bells
Yeah.
and thinking about
His
the
historic
history
feats, yeah.
and what's happened there, and that moment for me growing up, like, it doesn't get any better.
Yeah. That Billabong video with Kern versus.
It's just
Aki.
sick, dude. Anyway, so like
I wish the waves were good for that.
I think that whole thing of the lineup that we have it fills in a lot of history and checks off a lot of boxes all the way through it, from a wave system, which is a progressive like new thing, to that old school amazing historical event like Bells, to like the travel and expedition of you're going to G-Land, like
Oh my God.
then you've got the south of France, and you've got
France is
Portugal,
nuts.
a new
Yeah.
frontier of
Yeah.
all waves. Like,
And honestly, if Brazil
There's-
produces waves like that all the
good.
and
time,
Brazil's absolute. Well, Brazil is the new superpower of surfing,
Yeah.
Superpower.
right? And
my God,
I that event is incredible.
Yeah.
The energy, the people on the beach, dude, the waves were firing, like
Sean Ward was on our show,
it was incredible.
and he was saying, when the Brazilians came onto the scene, they changed the fucking game.
Yeah.
Well, the Brazilians
I mean-
have been on this in the scene, but they actually got to the point to where they
They have more than one person to like,
Went
now they
through-
got a group that are rivaling to everyone.
Yeah, they drove each other to,
Yeah.
to greatness, but they also like went through this evolution of, I want to say, kind of etiquette, and like the evolution of their culture. Like their cultures, that's who they are. They're radical people,
Yeah.
and they you go there, you realize, whoa, this is why they're so gnarly.
Yeah.
In the water, and they had a bad name for a long time, but it was just it was a cultural divide that it wasn't their fault.
Yeah.
It was who they were. It was growing up. It was this like passionate group
Scrappy.
of people that were scrapping for anything that they could have, you know. And
Yeah.
then they around the world they got bad names because there was a lot of them all
Yeah.
over the place, you know. And then there was this on tour. It was kind of like it was ugly. Like some people didn't like their styles. Like it was all these different surfers, but they were actually kind of getting to the point,
maturing and
right?
polishing.
And so then they everything became so radical
They're so gnarly.
to the point to where it was just undeniably dominant.
Yeah.
In
every
competitive
condition.
surfing.
That
Yeah.
Every
Jeffreys Bay final with
was so
the two goofy footers,
Yeah.
both Brazilian and both like, I mean, you thought for sure.
That was all time.
You thought for sure Italo. I thought for sure he won the fucking thing, right?
Yeah.
And then at the very end,
Yeah,
what's his face?
That
Gabriel.
whole like exchange went down.
Holy shit balls! And you were in the water.
I remember I surfed like a few days before that. I remember riding a wave through the contest area. It was free surf, and Gabriel snaked me, and then Italo snaked me. So we were all three of us were on the wave surfing, right? And I'm hitting the lip, and Gabriel's going around hitting the lip, and then we figure eighted once, and then I got caught behind, and then they finished off the wave. And then I was just like, all of a sudden I was sitting in the water in the final.
You're like,
And there's the two guys that snaked me.
Yeah, in the final.
Battling in the final. And I'm just going, wow, this is pretty cool.
It's surreal,
I
right?
was surfing with those guys the other day on a wave. Now they're in the final together. And now freaking this wave is going to get to Impossibles.
yeah.
And they're not going to make it. And guess who's going to ride it?
Yeah.
Was.
Those guys would smash off the end section, finish their wave, and I'd be freaking on my way down to freaking the bottom of the point going
Bro,
600
lived-
yards on a wave.
You live a fucking awesome, charmed life so far.
At this point, I am, it's
Psyched.
been,
So let's talk about some of the best waves of your recollection, because I know you've had to have thousands and thousands of fucking memorable waves. But let's talk about Pipeline. Do you remember your best wave ever? Was it that cover shot or no?
dude, I don't know. I think my best wave ever, it will never be seen.
It's usually the case.
Do you remember how long ago was it?
I'll
or-
never forget it.
Okay, tell us about it.
I was,
We're talking pipe right now, right?
Nope.
Wait, let's talk pipe first, because I want to talk about pipe. I want to talk about Chopu, and I want to
Okay.
talk about Skeleton Bay. So first up, pipe.
Pipeline is that wave that you have to have and devote a lot of time to. But like for me,
How big was it?
My most memorable wave would be the pipe shot,
Okay.
just because of
It was your
the
first
dream
cover.
and everything,
Yeah.
coming true there. But gosh, there's so many ways that I've been there.
I know.
Honestly, like it's too hard for me to figure out
Yeah.
like the best wave at Pipeline.
And you're an asshole.
I mean,
right?
one of the best waves I've ever had. I didn't make. It was just
You broke
last
your eardrum?
winter when I broke my eardrum. The wave looked perfect, and then it just stretched out and said, "No, you know what?
You're a little dude.
You haven't been here in this position lately. You need to get a little smack down and then come back, and I'll give
a
you
little
another
humble
one."
pie.
But like that wave was just
Looked insane.
so you understand, like, and the viewers or the people out there listening, like, to be in the lineup at Pipeline is intimidating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To see a wave of Pipeline coming at you that big is even more intimidating. And to be sitting there, I was on a 7.0.
Bottom turning.
I was thinking, okay, I need a bigger board. Second reefers are kind of capping. And I'm like in my little zone. Jamie O'Brien's like, he's one of the best, if not at Pipeline right now. He's looking over at me. I'm kind of inside of him, like deeper. And he's kind of like, what are you doing? He was kidding with me, but he's like, what are you doing? Like, you're in, like,
No man's land.
You're like in my zone. Like,
Yeah.
like I was like, I kind of laughed about it. And then the second reef set almost came through, and I paddled out past him like 20, 30 yards. Because I know I can get in if it chips. And this wave came, and I saw this guy paddling on second reef, and I'm like, he's not going to get it. And I turned around, and I saw Jamie, and he kind of looked at me. And I just put my head down and started paddling, and something clicks, and I don't know why or what, but you just get this I'm fucking going thing.
Yeah.
And you get into this, and I was in the saddle, and it chipped me in, and then just like let me drop over the ledge, like just. And as this is all happening, you're just like in it, and everything stops. You don't even think about it, but you realize that you're in a place where you should almost not be. And the wave looked so perfect. I was like, this is fucking the best wave of my life. And I got to the bottom, and when I came off the bottom, I went to look. It just sucked up all the way down to the corner.
Like, oh, that's a
and
lot
I'm
of
like,
distance to cover.
Oh! And I did one big pump off the bottom, and it was just too far. And I knew it. And so I just flagpoled it, and I stood straight up in it, and I just got a big barrel, and I just saw the groms out looking at all the kids. Like, there was so many people in the water, you could have walked across them. And I was just looking out in the barrel, and like all these kids were like screaming and psyching, and like all my buddies, you know, that because I've been out there for freaking 30 years.
You just stood tall, took it on the chin.
Yeah.
You rolled
But
through.
and I didn't think I was gonna break my eardrum. I just fell into the hole where I always fall. 90% of the time, you pop out the back.
And the hole's where the reverb from the lip opens up the bottom of the wave.
Yeah,
and
basically, there's nowhere for the air to go, and
Yeah.
it pushes through the bottom and goes up.
Out the back.
You know, out
I never knew of that fucking hole.
You've never taken off over a head wave, dude. Just kidding.
But like Jay's talking about, there
Don't
is a
make fun of
hole. There is a place where you can like
You either go
suck
straight to the
through.
bottom or you
Yeah.
go
And
straight out the
90%
back.
of the time, you're going out the back.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Which is what happened.
Yeah.
And I came up and I got a quick breath of air getting sucked up and over. Like you come up, you get popped out with the explosion almost. And then you get sucked back down. But you catch a breath of air. When I was like, pop me out. I caught the breath of air, and then I got really sick to my stomach. And then I was underwater and I couldn't find up.
So you knew right then
And I
that
knew
something was wrong?
something
but
was
it didn't
wrong.
hurt right away?
No, I just couldn't figure out where I was.
Whoa.
And so I was swimming, and I was just kind of rubbing against the bottom, and I'm going sideways. And I'm like, fuck. And I went to push, and I went like pushed, and I went sideways, and I wasn't coming up. And then I opened my eyes, and I was spinning, and I was like, oh,
Holy shit.
fuck.
Like,
So then I just started floating, and I finally surfaced, and there was another 10-footer on the head, and I opened my eyes and I saw the lip coming, but the lip was coming sideways, like it was off. The horizon line was tilted, and I was like, yeah, I definitely broke my eardrum in the middle of this, and I just kind of turned my head and just got, annihilated again. And then I finally, after 3 waves, found my board and was laying on the back of it, and the whitewater came. I remember it looked like it came and pushed me, and I rode in on my belly, and I just beached it. And then freaking the lifeguards were right there. They're, hey, what's up, dude? You all right? And I'm like, I think I broke my eardrum. And by this time, water had drained out of it. I went to the doctor, couldn't see in there, and then a couple of days later, I went back and I'd torn it in half.
Crazy.
And I was.
So tell us.
And what they do is let it mend itself.
Yeah, you can't do
really
anything.
It's like cartilage.
I just remember talking to Jerry Lopez about life and healing, and he just said that the prana breath is the key to long life. And
Prana
that's
breath.
you basically oxygenating your
Yeah.
blood so that it can heal things inside of your
Do you
system.
do a lot of yoga or?
I do it. Yeah, when I'm home, I go as much as possible
Yeah.
to hot yoga.
And you train with Wim Hof before too?
No, I've never been that into a lot of that
breathing.
breath. But I mean, the breath is the key to life, which a lot of people don't really think about. But in life, we don't slow ourselves down enough to actually take a real breath.
Yeah.
And if you deep breathe in through your nose and out your nose in prana breath, where you get the fire going in the back of your throat, and you start to breathe to places where you need it. Like if you have a bad leg or an ankle or something's tight, I actually in a week my ear healed, which is unheard of. But
Because of the breathing?
because of the breathing.
Yeah, breathing's super important.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of water.
And a lot of people, we get really stressed out in life, and you take short breaths, and you're not giving your body enough oxygen to oxygenate your blood cells to actually let your blood be healthy and be going through your body. And then the yoga stops and contracts and then blows the blood through
Yeah.
those areas, which will take all of anything cultivating in your system, any disease or sickness,
Yeah.
and it'll cycle it through and get rid of it.
Yeah.
But
I do a lot of yoga, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, breathing and lots of water, same thing. Like you put so much toxins in your body from food you don't think is bad for you, or just drinks, but drinking a ton of water is like crucial too.
Yeah,
balance, cleansing.
Talk to us about Chopu, like how.
I've been out there, and it's gnarly.
Yeah. I want the Strider.
Late Night's been out there. He knows what it is.
It's gnarly.
I don't think I ever need to go out there, to tell you the truth.
Code Red Swell. Come on, let's hear that one.
Strider?
Sorry, I'm supposed to meet somebody.
No worries. Yeah. Code Red?
Code
Swell?
Red.
Have you been out there?
I was out there.
Yeah.
Fuck.
It's if you haven't been there, I think
so
you need to go sit in the channel.
Code Red.
Yeah.
I get a phone call from Ray Mana. Hey, dude, I need you to come drive for me. I'm all, okay. Why? What? It's going to be big. I don't know why, but I need you here. Fly over there. Fucking.
How long ago was this?
This is whatever Code Red was, 2000.
13, 14, like 5 years ago?
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm in the line. I'm out. I go out in the morning early with him on the jet ski just to go check it out.
Was this the one where Nathan?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I go out in the morning early with him on the jet ski, and we get there, and it's fucking huge and it's sucking dry off the reef, and it's freaking so gnarly looking.
Were you amped?
It was me, Martin Potter, and
I'm getting like tingles.
so it
just
was
listening
me
to this.
and Martin Potter, and Raymana went out with his driver to check it, and
Because the contest was there, right? Wasn't the CT, and they put it on hold because of that
I
swell.
think there
And a
might-
bunch of-
yeah.
and a
It
bunch
was
of guys
so.
flew in,
yeah,
including you, and then a bunch of the other crazies.
I can't remember exactly. Maybe this was a different swell.
Maybe
It was early in the morning.
there was a couple big ones, but I
It
just
might have
remember-
been during the contest because Potts was there, so it would have been during the contest.
Yeah.
It was early in the morning, and I freaking am in the lineup with Potts on the jet ski, and Raymana's out there with his driver, and his driver, his legs don't work, right? He has his
Paralyzed?
legs, yeah, but he drives the ski really well.
Wow.
So Raymana gets towed into this wave, dude, and freaking, it's trying to eat him alive. I mean, it's so freaking gnarly. The wave is trying to eat him alive, and then freaking, he's like in this big gnarly freaking 40-foot barrel, and then all of a sudden I'm like, the thing goes and it's starting to close out on the inside, and I like see his silhouette at the top of the wave, and I think he makes it out of the wave, but he doesn't.
Sucks him over.
It sucks him over, and he gets body slammed onto the bottom, onto the reef in the closeout section,
Which is like
which is the scariest place.
Yeah.
You don't want to go there, right?
No.
And I look over and I see his driver, and he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna go in there. You always wait for a visual of where the guy is,
Yeah.
because if you fly in there looking for him, you could run him over and kill him,
Yeah.
hit him in the head.
Or yeah.
And at this point, it's early in the morning. The sun is actually rising, and so it's really hard to see through the sun rays and into the inside. Anyway, he goes in to go get him. He sinks in a hole,
Shut the fuck up.
flips over off the ski,
With no working legs.
right? So he's separated from his ski. So
Yeah.
then I'm sitting there, and I go, Potts, get off. And Potts is like, what? And I'm like, get off the ski. I got to go get Raymana. And he goes, I'm not getting off the ski. We're sitting there. It's fucking 100 foot, and he's not wanting it. Anyway, I get him off the jet ski with a freaking elbow. I'm like, dude, you got to get off, man. I got to go help save Raymana.
This board, right?
No.
He's got a life vest on.
Yeah.
So he gets picked up by a boat in the channel. I go in. I hit a hole. The waves are so big that the foam holes ate the ski. So I'm underwater
Oh my god.
on the jet ski, but I was able to stabilize, like kind of figure out where I was, and I freaking was just pinning it, and it finally hooked up, and I flew up out of the water. Like literally, I disappeared, and I came up out of the water. And then,
So much turbulence.
And so then there's another wave coming, and then I see Raymana face down, and I'm like, oh fuck. So then I get him, I grab him, I pull him up onto you have your hand on the throttle.
Yeah.
And then you grab the person, and then you kind of gun it, and that pulls their body back. But that momentum swing, when you're holding on to their body, will pull their body back behind you. And if you're driving away, and the momentum of them swinging will give them the momentum around like a clock and pull them up onto the back.
Yeah.
And so I one-armed that and drove out of there.
Oh my god.
And was on
in the nick of time?
In the nick of time. Got to the lagoon, stopped, checked on him, and
he was unconscious?
Rolled him over, and he was just basically, his eyes were rolled back, he was foaming at the mouth, and then gave him the fucking bango on the back, and he's spitting water, and he's fucked up, and it was really, really.
Wow.
You don't want to fuck with him too much because you don't know what happened.
Yeah, you know,
and
if you
he's
have
not really
broken bones
talking. He's not really talking, and I kind of got him to the place where he was just fetal position on the back of the jet ski. And I looked over, and I see the other ski floating.
Oh shit! With the guy that's paralyzed.
And the guy who's paralyzed, basically almost on dry reef, and a fucking 10-footer's coming. And I'm like, so I take the ski, I drive it over to the dry reef. Basically, I don't turn it off. I just let it idle into the dry reef. Get off, run across the reef, flip the jet ski over.
It's beached on the reef.
It's beached on the reef.
Fuck.
He's like crawling up the reef, dude.
Oh my god.
I get him to he's like, I'm good. Because he was far enough in on the dry reef. I flip his ski over, and with the skis, if you don't get them started and blow them out, and the intake and all this water that's inside of it,
it's waterlogged.
It'll seize and die.
Yeah.
So I just and did a bunch of donuts and made sure that the ski was okay, because he was okay. Put him on the ski, right? Then I got him onto the ski, got him into driving position. Like, I lifted his body up because he's, he's using his arms too. Yeah. But fucking, you can think about the scene.
Oh, dude.
But
you
he's
just
okay.
saved one guy.
He's
save
conscious.
another
he's
guy.
Okay. And then I freaking go back. I jump in the water and get Raymana, and I freaking take him into the doctor, who was on the inside.
And
all that happens in
there's really nobody out there.
Nobody's out there yet. This is 8:00 in the morning. It's not even 8:00 in the morning yet.
Yeah.
And I have just gone through
traumatic,
the craziest traumatic thing, and I was just like,
what's crazy is in the beginning you go, hey, I need you there.
Yeah.
Like, you were the guy,
and then
for whatever reason
I end up freaking going back to the house, traumatized, fucking telling the guys what happened, and the guys were loading up to go surf.
Yeah, well, I think Nathan and Bruce and all those guys ended up getting a couple, and
Nathan's will go down in history.
Yeah, Nathan's wave was so.
When Bruce's shorts got blown off on that day,
God,
and then God, who else? I don't know. There was a few waves but Nathan's was. I mean, he just pretty much
that was just the heaviest thing ever.
Craziest waves.
And then I ended up. Makua Rothman was like, "Oh, let's go get some," and I was like, "He's like, think about it. This could be the last time you do this." And I was like, "You're right." Fucking jumped in the water. He towed me into a couple waves, smaller ones that were pretty nuts still, and then he got me a freaking monster that just ate me alive, and it was just insane. I came up, and I was so tweaked. And if you've ever been there, there's this yellow buoy that's on the inside of where you sit, and the buoy was getting barreled, and I came up inside of the buoy, and I just see these waves coming, and Makua's standing up on top of the jet ski, looking down at me as this wave's coming and closing out in front of me, and I'm gonna swim under it, and he's just doing this with his hands, just telling me to calm down, because he could see when I came up, my eyes were giant.
Yeah.
And I swam through it, and I came up, and he came and got me, and then it was just one of those just epic moments
Fuck
of
that.
life, you know. And the buoys were
You guys
flying
are
by you
fucking
and the
crazy.
lineup and like the whole thing and fucking.
Explain to our listeners the turbulence underwater and how many somersaults you're doing, and your arms getting yanked off, and your legs getting yanked off, and the whiplash you're getting in the neck. And,
Well, remember the Malik swell, the one that Malik got?
yeah.
So that was when I almost died. That
How many
was-
times have you almost died, though?
Yeah, a lot. I almost died a lot. But that was one time when I thought, okay, I'm not gonna survive. And we were out in the water, we got a couple waves, it came up really fast all morning, and Manoa Drole, I was doing something and he came by on the skis, like, will you drive? And I'm like, yeah, I can drive. And we get out there and he's like, you want to catch a couple waves? And I'm like, but I had a tow board.
Yeah.
I had all my shit. I was like, yeah. So I get a couple waves, and I was on a Timmy Patterson tow board, and I was like, wow, that was insane. The energy, the feeling. I was sitting out the back, and I came over a wave, and I wasn't even looking. I didn't even see the wave. I just heard the jet ski start. And
To whip you into
let's
it?
go, let's go. And I was like, whoop, get up out of the water and stand up. And the wave, the wall of the wave was so big and so black and went all the way through the channel at Chopu. And I was like, oh my God.
How big
And
was it, you
He
think?
was like, wang, 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 you know, across the top of it. And
How big was it?
it was, at the peak of the wave, it was probably 40-foot phase. And I was like, okay, looking
of
at
it.
it. And I was like, I'd let go of the rope. And he didn't know I did. And when he looked back, he's like, oh. And I was gone I went over the freaking, down into it. And then the wave just freaking tripled up and closed out.
Wow.
No out.
No out.
You just hold your line in the tube and wish for the best? I mean, you can't do anything else.
There was nowhere to go. So I just decided to like,
Is there an eject? Is there a spot in your mind where to eject, or you just let it bunk you?
well, when I let go of the rope, when it's that big, you're committed.
Of course.
And I was in the bowl of it, and I wasn't as deep as I thought I was going to be. Well, I wasn't that deep,
Yeah.
to tell you the truth, because the wave was so big that it wrapped
Howdy.
around the reef and sucked around the inside bowl has a high spot, and it sucked around the reef so hard that you could see in the photos the water sucking off the back of the reef and into the trough and turning inside out. And by the time I was in the position of knowing that it was going to close out, there was no getting out of it, and I was facing the beach. So like I'm looking at the beach basically.
Yeah.
Wow. And I'm like, okay, I can't even go straight. I'm already going straight towards the beach.
Yeah.
And the wave closed out. The right was coming at me. The wave's coming from behind me. And I went straight as long as I could. And my theory was just to go until you can't go. And I ended up running into the foam ball. And it was like running straight into that wall. I got knocked out.
Boom.
Boom. The bell rung and knocked out. Came to underwater. I have a big white flash. Came to underwater, looking sideways, and it was black above me, and dark green like water with like the reef and little knobs of the reef kind of sticking up, and they would just like you'd go by them. You were going like 50 miles an hour underwater, and you would just start losing. I was just losing parts of me. You know, like I was just, chunks of me were just getting ripped off. Like
From the reef.
From the reef, my shorts got ripped. Big hole in my shorts. My fucking dick had a big scratch on it. Like my knuckles, all of my shins, my knees, my elbows, everything. I had my hands over my head, and
You're just getting grated on the reef.
I was the California cheese on the cheese grater. And then I fucking ended up on dry reef. And then I couldn't see. When you're underwater a long time, you start to lose your senses. and I couldn't see, but I could hear. And I remember like being on dry reef, kind of laid out, pretty much almost dead. And I remember hearing this, and I just took a freaking huge double up on dry reef on the back. And I just
They push you up and over the.
exploded, and then I was like bouncing off the reef, and I just heard another, and I thought it was another wave, and it was the water pouring off the reef into the lagoon.
So
Because
you're
the
right
suction
there.
of the swell was so big that literally water was draining off the lagoon, and I was inside by the green buoy marker, the pole. That's how far in I went. And then I freaking literally like rolled off, boom, hit dry reef again on the waterfall, and then I was like pinging in between the dry reef pieces.
Holy shit.
And I couldn't really see. I was
Anybody
just,
coming to get you? Like,
well,
that happened
they
so
thought
fast.
I died, like Brucey, and everybody thought I was dead. Because they couldn't see me, nobody could find me. And then Manoa found me, came inside of the reef with the jet ski, and it got me down the back of the ski and just like jokingly said, "Oh, you want another one?" And he was just fucking with me, and he got me to the beach.
But that's probably the best way to kind of
Yeah.
break the
ice.
like you're alive, haha. Like
Yeah.
And then I got to the beach, and I remember walking up the beach, and
you're like, ow, my whole body hurts.
I was there with Chris Van Lennep, and we were doing a Quicksilver photo shoot, and I was walking. I got to the beach, and he took off. Manoa did, and I'm walking up. We were staying right there on the beach, and he came running out with his camera, like to shoot this photo of me in this historic moment. And he got to me, and I don't know if he ever took any photos or not, but like my whole body, wherever skin was showing, the cuts were all white, the fatty tissue.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
hadn't released yet. And as I was walking up to him, they released. And
Yeah,
I
once you
started
got out of the water,
bleeding out.
they
I
got
started
oxygen.
bleeding everywhere, and like almost fainted.
Yeah.
And then I got up into the yard, and I was so fucked up that like I was like couldn't really talk. And then I started cutting up limes,
Ugh.
and the shock of all of the lime in my system made me throw up. And like I was just laid. They laid me down, and I like woke up in the middle of the night, and I couldn't move part of my body. It was fucking so heavy.
Like you got in a fucking
Dude.
car accident.
It was worse than a car accident. I was scarred. I didn't go back for a while.
Yeah. But you have.
And I went back.
Time heals. I forgot about that. It's like those sleepless nights with your kid. I'm never having a kid again, man. I can't believe I didn't sleep for like
and then
6
I got
months.
to
And you're like,
the
oh, I'm gonna have another
the
one.
Code Red swap.
Oh my gosh.
So tell us about Skeleton Bay. Is that wave?
I'd rather not.
Yeah. Just, it's there.
It's a horrible place.
It's a horrible place.
It's
All
not.
right.
It's not beautiful, and you should not. It's just
Yeah.
it's definitely way too hard to get to the wave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard to find.
Yeah.
It's the best wave in the world.
Yeah.
When it's on. But it only breaks, I heard, like every couple of years.
It's not very consistent, but
Yeah.
A couple of questions we ask everybody is like, obviously you've surfed the wave pool.
Yeah,
Right.
it has. The wave pool, there's lots of them now.
Well, the wave pool. Kelly's pool.
yeah, I love that wave.
Yeah. It's amazing, right?
Yeah,
And
it's so sick. Fuck.
it is, right? It's like a perfect fucking
It
wave
turns you
every
into,
single
like-
time.
It turns you into like this like demon though,
Yeah.
because you want every wave you can
To
get
fall.
there.
You want everyone
Well,
to
we're
fall.
perfectionists, and then you ride it, and you're like, well, I didn't ride it perfect. I gotta go do it again.
And
then-
I've been lucky enough to have the opportunity to ride a lot of waves there. Circumstances have put me in it, and like friends of mine have rented the pool and invited me. During the contest, the commissioner let everybody have 5 extra. There was like 10 extra waves less, but that meant all the rights couldn't be surfed, and I was like talked him into letting me surf it. So I ended up surfing, doing that thing where I broadcasted live from the barrel. And
Yeah,
did
that was
that whole
epic.
like thing, but it was just like a circumstance where I put myself. Again, I was the water guy, and I talked my way into letting them do that for me. And I asked Kieran, who was the commissioner, and he said yes. While I was on my headset and my microphone, asking my producer, who said no. And then they had to call management, and they had to clear it. And then by then there was 4 waves left or 5 waves left, and they're like, "Okay, you can go surf." And it was like, but like, honestly, freak that wave is
Ridiculous.
The sickest wave. It's so fun, so rippable, and then there's a sick barrel.
Have you surfed Texas yet? I haven't either. Larson surfed it.
It's fun, but it's like surfing a Point Break versus like 54th Street.
Yeah.
You know, it's a different.
It's a different type of wave, and the power of the wave at the Slater Wave Company is incredible.
Yeah. It's
that wave is just, it's bananas. I remember having so much fun. I was up there for Kelly's birthday the day after, and he was doing this shoot, and they were like filming, and the guys were out. Kalani Rob was out, and Benji, and I remember not getting out of the water, just surfing the whole time, and then finally Kelly like told the water patrol guy to come and get me out of the water. Like, dude, you got to get out of the water, bro. You've been out there for way too long.
So awesome. You do any foiling or?
I've tried foiling.
Yeah.
I'm not good at it.
Yeah.
But I'm getting better.
We haven't. I've
tried
it
it
yet.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I don't really need to, honestly.
Well, when we're in Southern California, the waves are lackluster. It's not that cold. We're working, you get pulled a million directions. But if you're on a trip and
if you have time
to
do it, it's a pretty cool novelty thing to do. But it's also,
you got to have the right
learning
equipment.
curve is hard.
Yeah.
Are you in? Does Malibu have a West Coast board riders team yet?
They're putting a team together.
I don't know. Are they?
Yeah.
They should.
Yeah.
I think you should be part of it, bro.
Yeah.
I think Sarlo was trying to put a team together.
Yeah.
Malibu
And you're
team.
familiar with West Coast board
Yeah.
riders, right?
Yeah.
You know we're the official podcast
Of the
West Coast board riders.
West Coast Board Riders?
Yeah.
Okay.
No big thing.
Yeah. We're moving on.
We're moving on up.
No, but it's just cool because it brings in the community and just like us, we always look up to our older generation, our older peers within our
the community.
And you get with them, and then you got the youth that are kind of looking up, and you could help them out. It brings back my memories of when Quicksilver used to run those like workouts at like 54th, and to be like, hey, this is our team day, even though that was like kind of a smaller.
That was fun.
You bring these like large scale like teams together,
and it's building relationships within all the surf communities,
where
it's not so divided anymore.
Yeah,
surf shops are involved, and different companies are sponsoring each team. But I mean, how much you enjoy going up to Santa Cruz or down to San Diego and meeting up with
like
crews?
Just like they used to be.
Yeah. And now you're going, and I'm seeing all of my friends.
You guys have been doing that.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I see all the boys, and I'm like, and then they have families and kids, and you're just like, you just get stoked to see everybody hasn't changed, and you're like, fuck, you're still
Can't
ripping.
change
You
the
got
spots
family.
on a leopard, man.
So, we know that you're, not to get too personal, but your house burnt down.
Yep.
And you guys are on the rebuild?
We started to rebuild the house, the lower house. So we lost 2 houses, and our lower house is starting to get rebuilt. We're in the process now.
Nice.
Basically about to close up the walls and
Yeah,
get that thing ready, and we're trying to get permits for the other.
Yeah.
Crazy where we live. It's like paradise, but then
it can be hell.
Yeah.
When that fire ripped through there, dude, it was like hell.
My wife.
I mean, I can't even imagine what you went through. Like that was to be able to, because you built the house yourselves, right?
Yeah.
And the pride of ownership. And
the hard part was just
losing all the stuff, right?
Knowing that you were. When we got in the car, I waited a long time.
Yeah.
And when I got in the car with my family, and it just became a safety thing, like get your family out before something bad happens.
Yeah.
And we actually tried to drive north to get away through that way to go to the ranch, and we couldn't get through because of the fire. It was coming across the highway, and you could feel it against the glass. It was so hot in the car, and I just turned around, and I remember driving back through and just seeing the fire coming down towards my house, and I just knew,
it's gone.
It's gonna be over. And then my house was next to PCH, so it was on the news. all night, all day. The next day, like it was on just repeat.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of reminders. From,
Yeah.
Is that your house, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty heavy. But now, to tell you the truth, in the end, knowing that when it was pretty tough because it was my whole life of dreams, building something.
Yeah.
Like you put a lot of emphasis and a lot of pride and a lot of worth on a
There's emotional connection.
but it's also a material success thing, like a home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The American dream is to own a home,
Yeah.
and so to build one, to own it, and then watch it just get scraped off the earth, literally, like nothing there.
Yeah.
You realize that it's just a home.
Yeah.
It's a material thing that you can bring back, and like in the end, like sitting there with my family and my kids, and it made us a better unit.
Yeah.
It made my wife and I's relationship better, and my relationship with my kids better.
Yeah.
And so to have,
Something traumatic like that.
but to have that as the importance in life now
Yeah.
through it was way more important than to have the value of life in a material thing.
Yeah.
And there are not all stories are like that, because there's families out there that have been torn apart
Yeah.
and haven't
Yeah, it's true.
survived,
Yeah.
which is crazy. And my wife's parents lived up there for 20 years, and they've been out of the, this fire and it zips around and misses the house. This fire, they said it was going to be bad, and this one just fucking came like that, and they burnt to the ground, everything, and it's just like, woulda, coulda, shoulda, like that's kind of what your first response is. Man, I should have grabbed this, or I should have done that. But at the end of the day, like you said,
That'll eat you
everybody
up alive
got out
to think
alive.
about that.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
just a rebuilding, and it sucks, but
Yeah, and there's a lot of, I live next door to the fire station,
yeah,
literally. And in the end, it was just a really
Did that go up too? The
No.
fire station?
no, it
Fire
was just a
station got
really
saved?
mismanaged fire.
yeah,
And the fire chief involved didn't know the territory well enough, and the fire got in front of him, and he just never recovered.
Yeah.
Well, that and all the resources going to
And
Pepperdine.
the stuff that was going, also the others,
Then
other
the fire up
fires,
north.
the whatever
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
There's just,
Personville.
there's a lot of stuff that happened.
Yeah,
But in reality, it was just horribly managed.
Yeah.
yeah.
And the
But
drops,
the speed of the fire
drops were
too.
too late.
Yeah,
Where they did a bad job,
yeah,
and we paid for it.
yeah. It's heavy.
But you guys are positive and you're on the rebuild. And like
Yeah.
you said, it brought your family closer together, which is amazing.
It's a good thing to have, so you got, fuck. I've been beat up before.
Yeah.
It's the other side, how you come out of it.
Yeah.
And you can't, I could let a million things get me down.
Yeah.
I see 100 times a day shit that I could just dwell on, sit there, and freaking never come out of. But then what's life gonna be?
Yeah.
You can't just sit there and think about the bad things in life. They call me Teflon at work because shit happens all day behind the curtain,
Yeah.
but I don't let it affect me.
Yeah.
Teflon. It's in everybody's system.
Is it?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
yeah. It's very bad. Not for you, because it makes you resilient and tough.
Yeah.
But when Teflon came out, it's a whole other story. I won't get into it.
I just
but-
try to let it roll off, because I don't hold on to things. I have a very simple way of dealing with things, and that's to without denial, confront and accept what happens
Yeah.
and get through it. Because if you hold on to it and talk about it, whatever you got to do to get rid of it.
Just
Hey, it's
And
like
with the-
Spicoli said,
it all
right?
comes back to breathing. In with
Yeah.
the good, out with the
You gotta
bad.
get rid
No,
of it.
it's Spicoli. He's like, hey, bud,
Hey,
let's party.
And if you
Life's
get
a
to
party.
the other side of it,
Yeah.
but you have to honestly get through it.
do you fantasy surf?
No.
You don't fantasy surf or play? Too close to the action?
It's bizarre, but I don't play the games.
Yeah.
I just never have. I just never.
We have a good group of
Like, there's a lot of people that do it, and there's just so much going on. They're like, and I'm really bad at it.
Yeah.
Like, I did it once, and I was like, I suck.
I want to pick the guys I want to see win.
Because,
And
yeah,
my friends,
exactly.
I'm like, I want this
I'm
guy
not
to win.
doing it by the stats and the numbers. I'm doing it by, like,
I like this
I'm
guy.
like,
He rips.
fuck, yeah. I keep picking Kelly.
me too.
Love you, Kelly. But, yeah.
Won an event already, bro. It's good.
Well, I hope he's still doing it, right?
He's doing it. He already said he's doing it next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. G-Land.
Yeah.
Come on. More than
If we could just get him into the Olympics, I think he might retire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck. Now another 4
I
years.
don't think he needs to
Gotta
retire,
do a
right?
campaign.
He's got another 4 years or next
I think he needs to just. Wow.
Yeah. What?
I don't care if he retires.
I mean, what about the Olympics is I mean, that's pretty big for the sport, and we're pretty excited to see how that unravels.
I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a cool. It's great that it's in the Olympics at the platform where it's going to be. I have question marks around that
For sure.
So are there going to be waves? Is it going to be 1 foot? Is this what the world's going to see as far as surfing?
For the first
It,
time.
it makes you feel like, oh gosh, this is kind of a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
it could have been in a wave system where you were going to get waves for sure, or if it was at a venue where they had a holding period. But it's the Olympics.
Yeah.
At 2:00 on freaking Thursday, they're gonna have Heat 1.
Yeah, your
In
time
Japan,
slot on
Yeah.
TV,
You know what I
which is the
mean? Like,
moneymaker.
so you really gotta like
In Japan, where it's really spotty.
There's a question mark around it.
Yeah.
The concept and theory and inclusiveness of the world and it being on that platform, I think is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know Fernando has been working his ass off to make it happen, and
Yeah.
the dream is coming true. 2024, it's going to be at Chopu.
That's crazy.
So, which is awesome. So I'm going to try and make the Polish team. At 52 at Chopu.
Nice.
I bet you're probably the best Polish surfer out there.
Yeah.
And I'd like to call this one,
Yeah.
2020. Hopefully I get the call up.
So is WSL going to be involved with the Olympics at all? At least
They're
the
not.
commentating team?
NBC is the one who is going to.
Yeah, NBC has.
NBC
Oh.
has their broadcast.
But do they have a broadcast team?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I hope
they-
I'm on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that usually the Olympics do a really good job of diving into the journey of each athlete and their history and stuff, and highlight reels and stuff. So I think the way they package like the athlete individually will hopefully not outshadow the actual surfing performance, because obviously it comes down to wave quality. But I think there'll be a lot of good content just surrounding
sure.
surfing and getting that
But it's
buzz.
coming up, so they would have to start
Promoting.
getting that content, right?
Yeah, you would think.
But it's also an X factor.
Yeah.
So they don't know whether it's going to be like fun to watch or not, Like,
Yeah.
but I think you're right. The building of the athlete behind it and who they are, where
Yeah.
they're from, like creating and humanizing each guy.
Which will hopefully bring in like kind of
Broader audience.
that broader audience, and just tune in, might not create buzz in certain areas, but
Yeah.
it might create buzz elsewhere.
We'll
Yeah.
see. It's going to be fun. It'll be fun to watch, but there's just so many.
X factors.
There's just so many things that have to be worked on.
Yeah.
And more wave pools popping up.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I know. When is Kalani's going to be done?
I don't know. I saw some men. I saw him sitting at the bottom of the pool like a few weeks ago on some post.
Have you talked to Kalani about his pool, or
I don't even know where it is. Where's his pool?
it's going to be in Palm Springs?
Oh, that one?
Yeah. There's
two.
two, I guess.
Yeah.
In Palm Springs.
Yeah. I think
And
it's
then
cool.
I heard there's one. That's
I don't have to
in
fly to
Virginia
Texas to
Beach.
go surf a pool.
I know.
I don't know. You never know.
I think it's
Dude, we're over 2 hours.
Yeah. We know you're busy.
I was just
man.
gonna say I was gonna freaking.
You're frazzling.
I haven't even been able to dive into things really with you guys,
No, this is awesome.
Well, this is part one of
but
many.
because there's just
Yeah.
so many. We just grazed the
When you
surface of a lot of it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It's good. I mean, it gives.
But we talked about some really cool shit.
yeah, definitely.
What's in the next recent future? What's Strider Wasilewski?
The next recent.
Yeah,
future.
I just-
like that. Recently in the future.
past, present,
in the near future? What's
In
up
the near
for?
future.
I'm gonna be
Re-signing your-
snowboarding
Oh,
a lot.
yes.
I love powder.
Yes.
So I'm going to go
You
on a
and
trip
Larson.
with.
I snowboard. This guy does.
I'm going with McKnight,
Sick.
Robbie, and his dad, and Titus and Muggs and all the boys. We're going to
Epic.
go on a
Sick.
cat trip, and then I'm going to. Before that, though, I'm going to
Muggs
stop.
McGinnis?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to stop in
Sick.
BC. I'm going to go heliboarding up there. I think
Sick.
with a friend of mine up there, and then go over to Spokane and do the cat trip, and in between there, go to Hawaii and surf some pipe and.
Yeah.
Get some waves and
You're
hang
in the
out with
off season.
A lot of family time right now, which has been really good,
Yeah.
and just kind of navigating the dad waters, which is ever challenging, and a lot of big things happening with my sunscreen company right now, Shade,
Yeah,
which
man.
is really exciting for me. And come 2021 will be basically a relaunch of everything that I'm doing now behind the scenes, which is going to be amazing. And then hopefully heading off around the world to do the WSL in water commentating
Yep.
Awesome.
and bringing to you surfing like nobody else can, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, listeners, get your sunscreen at shadesunscreen.com or your local surf shop.
Or your local surf shop.
And hopefully commentating the Olympics,
That'd be
Dude, that'd be insane.
which is pretty much what I want to do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, put your head down and keep freaking doing
I'm
what
gonna
you're
keep
doing, because
powering.
that's all you could do.
yeah.
And let fate, work its course based on putting yourself in the pit.
Luck is preparation and opportunity combined.
Yeah. Dude,
Oh yeah.
this has been amazing. Strider, your body of work, I mean, coming from the streets of Santa Monica, fucking Dogtown,
Hustler.
maneuvering through life.
It's funny,
You know?
one of my friends, he's like, Matt McConaughey, the actor guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a good friend, and he's like, we were talking about life, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna freaking keep doing it. He's like, doing it? You're a fucking hustler,
Yeah.
no matter what. And I've never seen you down and out because
Yeah.
you just hustle and get through it. I mean, you fucking lost your mom to cancer. You got fired from Quicksilver. I freaking have, been through freaking a house burning down, and you just have to hustle to make it back to
Square one.
where you're breathing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep hustling.
That's what life's
Like Late
about.
Night said, the hustle is real.
Yeah, so real. Let's do this.
Yeah. I mean, thank you for gracing us with this conversation,
Yeah.
because, a lot of our show's about surf, and we get a lot of hardcore young and old surfers listening to us. And Strider, I mean, you're the face of the WSL as far as we're concerned.
Yeah.
And
Thanks, guys.
it's insane that
And we like all the commentators, but I mean,
yeah,
when
but you're our favorite.
and like you said, there you got the Trapel and Ronnie that do the stats, and you got the surfers, whether it's you
Peter
or
Mel,
Pete
Kaipo,
Mel, and the guys that
Potts,
actually
of course.
have a legitimate background, and I mean, for us, we feel like it's authentic when you got somebody that knows what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah.
And everybody on there does a great job, but
Yeah.
it's just good perspective, like your guys' balance of the stats, filling dead time, which is key to keeping people entertained, to just a live raw, like,
Yeah.
hey, shit's happening.
Yeah.
And
It's
it's
good.
cool to hear your story, because, like I was saying before, you came from the rugged streets of Santa Monica, and sure, you partied and stuff, but you didn't go to college, but you didn't let that deter you from achieving a fucking high profile, amazing career at Quicksilver, right? And then parlaying your worth of being you, right?
There's only one raspberry out there. Marketing,
and,
bro.
and you're still doing it, man. And like your good friend Matt McConaughey said, you're a fucking hustler, and we're stoked to be able to share that story with our
Tell that guy to rent out the pool and invite us.
No shit.
Yeah, come on, bro. I'm still waiting to get
It's
there.
pretty cheap too.
Yeah,
It's only like $50K, right?
something.
70 in the high season.
Yeah, and if you, depending on what kind of luncheon.
Anybody out there, if you guys do rent it out and you need somebody like me to commentate from the ski,
Same here.
Yeah,
I'll just pick up the scraps.
Yeah.
I can wax people's boards.
I'm just the best beer drinking buddy you could have, sitting in the jacuzzi, hanging out. Anyways.
Well, thanks, you guys.
Hey,
Thank you, Strider.
Yeah.
This has been fucking awesome.
Best of luck, 2020, buddy.
Yeah, it's going to be a good year.
Okay.
Peace.
Year
Thanks,
of,
guys.
Year of,
You're the Waz.
of sight.
Yeah.
2020. Clear vision.
Sight. Okay, peace.
Peace.
Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Please give us a 5-star rating and spread the word.
Special thanks to our good friends James Williams for our awesome artwork and Justin Reynolds for the amazing music.